In the quiet hours of the night, when the world softens and the mind loosens its grip on the day, a gentle thought drifts in like a wandering breeze. What if our universe is just one among countless others? Somewhere beyond the veil of stars, could there be worlds with different skies, different histories, even different versions of us? The idea rests there like a small glowing lantern, tender, impossible, and irresistibly calming. And as you breathe slowly, you might feel the edges of your imagination widen, as though the night itself is opening a doorway to endless realms. Welcome to AstraFlow. Here, science drifts like starlight, and curiosity becomes calm. Tonight, let your thoughts slow down, your breathing find its rhythm, and your mind float through wonder. Before we begin, I'd love to know where you're listening from. Are you lying in bed under city lights, or watching the stars from somewhere quiet? Tell me in the comments. It's always peaceful to imagine the AstraFlow community scattered across the world, drifting together through the same sky. And if this calm journey brings you peace, you can gently support AstraFlow by liking this video or subscribing. It helps this little corner of the cosmos keep glowing. Now, let's begin tonight's voyage into the quiet story of how many multiverses there might be, and why imagining them feels like resting inside infinity. The thought of a multiverse has always been a soft invitation for the mind, a way of sensing just how wide reality might be. Our universe, with all its stars and lifetimes, feels enormous, yet it may only be one thread in a tapestry larger than anything the human heart can hold. Scientists explore this idea carefully, studying clues in cosmic expansion, quantum behavior, and the delicate rules that shape existence. But tonight, we walk through it gently, slowly, like wandering through a dim, peaceful gallery of possibilities. As your breath moves in and out, imagine the universe as a single shimmering bubble, floating in an endless ocean of space. It glows softly with galaxies, and it expands with a quiet, steady pulse. But what if it isn't alone? What if the ocean around it holds countless bubbles, each one sealed from the next, each containing its own version of physics, matter, and time? Even imagining this begins to soften the boundaries of what we think is everything. There are many ways science has tried to describe this idea. One says that the Big Bang wasn't a single event, but one spark among infinite sparks. Another suggests that quantum choices, every possibility that could happen, unfold into their own silent branches of reality. Others imagine dimensions beyond our senses, like pages in a book we cannot open. And some theories even propose that black holes are seeds of newborn universes, tiny gateways where one cosmos gives birth to another. But there is no urgency here. No need to answer or solve anything. Just let the ideas drift by you, slow and soft like waves brushing the shore of your thoughts. Tonight, we will move through these possibilities, not to arrive at a conclusion, but to experience the peaceful vastness they reveal. Because in the end, the question, how many multiverses are there, is less about counting and more about expanding our sense of wonder. It's a question that lets your mind drift into a silence so wide it feels like floating. So settle into your breath, settle into your night, and let the idea of endless universes cradle your imagination like a lullaby woven from stars. There is a particular kind of question that only arrives when the night is quiet enough. A question that isn't begging for an answer, but simply stretching its limbs like a cat relaxing in a warm patch of sun. What lies beyond our universe? The moment you ask it, you feel something loosen inside you, as if your thoughts suddenly recognize how small they are, and how beautiful that smallness can be. It isn't a question meant to be solved. It's a doorway, softly opening. Throughout history, humans have stood under the sky and wondered if there is more stars beyond the stars they could see, more worlds beyond the world they knew, more possibilities hidden in the shadows of the unknown. Tonight, we step into that same lineage of curiosity, but with a gentleness meant for rest, not revelation. This is not the harsh, frantic curiosity of daylight, but the tender, dreamy curiosity that only appears when your breathing slows and the horizon melts into darkness. When we ask, how many multiverses are there? We're really asking something deeper. How big is reality allowed to be? If our universe, infinitely expanding, rich with galaxies and time, is only one possibility among countless others, then our sense of everything becomes wonderfully porous. The question doesn't demand a number. It simply lets the mind drift out of its usual boundaries, like mist crossing a meadow at dawn. It's a question that expands rather than narrows, one that invites awe rather than certainty. Imagine the universe you know, the stars, the nebulae, the slow turning of galaxies, as a single, momentary breath taken by something larger. If there are many universes, perhaps they are not arranged like objects on a shelf, but more like ripples on a pond, expanding, overlapping, fading, and reappearing in rhythms far too slow for us to witness. The multiverse is not a place we travel to. It's a possibility that travels through us. And in this soft space of thought, you can feel how the question becomes less about physics and more about presence. You're lying there, listening, breathing, and contemplating your own existence within a system so vast that even its edges may not be edges at all. That quiet realization that we may be a spark within a much larger fire taps gently at the center of what it means to be human. Scientists approach the multiverse with equations, models, and theories, but beneath all of that rests a simple truth. Even they are reaching for a sense of scale that feels almost dreamlike. Theories about cosmic inflation, quantum branching, extra dimensions, each of them is a human attempt to make peace with the idea that the universe could be far larger than our minds naturally allow. Just as artists paint what they feel but cannot fully express, physicists trace patterns in the unknown, knowing that some answers may always remain out of reach, and yet there is comfort in that. Not knowing everything makes the night feel bigger. Not seeing the whole picture lets the imagination breathe. Not reaching the end of the cosmos means the story continues, page after page, in silence. As you settle deeper into your pillow, you might feel the question settling with you. Soft, weightless, unhurried. What lies beyond our universe? Not to be solved, but to be savoured. And so we move forward gently, letting the vastness unfold at a pace that soothes rather than overwhelms. We allow the question to remain open, like a window cracked just enough to let the cool night air in. Tonight, the universe is not a limit. It's an invitation. When we speak of the multiverse, we're not speaking of a single idea, but a gentle constellation of possibilities. Each theory shines like a small lantern along a quiet path, illuminating a different way reality could be arranged. None of them insist on certainty. None of them demand belief. They simply offer shapes in the dark, places where imagination and science meet in a soft embrace. The first lantern glows with the light of cosmic inflation, the idea that the universe expanded faster than light in its earliest moments. In this rapid stretching, regions of space could have drifted apart so quickly that they formed their own isolated pockets, like bubbles in a rising tide. Each bubble could be a universe, complete and self-contained, drifting through a silent cosmic ocean we can never reach. It's a peaceful image. Countless spheres expanding in the dark, each one carrying its own quiet story. Another lantern flickers with the quantum idea of many worlds. In this view, every tiny event, every particle choosing a path, every electron shifting, causes reality to branch, not violently, but delicately, like the growth of a crystalline frost on a window pane. A world where you turned left instead of right still exists, fragile and faint, drifting beside this one, and a world where the stars formed differently, where atoms arranged themselves in unfamiliar patterns, blooms somewhere further down the tree. These branches aren't separate universes in distant space, but quiet echoes layered alongside our own. Further down the path, another glow emerges from string theory, where the universe is built from vibrating threads far smaller than anything the eye or even imagination can truly grasp. In this framework, the laws of physics are not fixed, but shaped by how these strings vibrate and how extra dimensions fold and twist around them. There might be a vast landscape of possible universes, each one with its own version of gravity, light, matter, and time, like melodies played on different instruments in an infinite orchestra. And then there is the lantern of brain cosmology, where our universe is a sheet, a brain, floating inside a higher dimensional space. Other brains drift near us, parallel and unseen, each carrying its own universe with quietly glowing skies. Sometimes, these brains might touch or collide, creating bursts of energy that resemble new big bangs. It's a cosmic dance we're too small and too slow to perceive, but imagining it feels strangely soothing, as though creation itself is a rhythm, pulsing softly through a dimension we cannot sense. The final lantern on this gentle path comes from mathematics itself, the idea that every complete mathematical structure exists as its own universe. In this view, reality is not a single place, but an infinite library where every consistent pattern, every geometry, every rule set, every possible constellation of logic becomes a world. Our universe wouldn't be special. It would simply be one book among countless volumes, resting quietly on a shelf that stretches forever. But even with all these theories, the multiverse remains an idea made of fog and wonder. Science offers hints, glimpses, and elegant frameworks, but never a final answer. And maybe that's the beauty of it. These theories don't press us towards certainty. They hold space for awe. As you breathe slowly, let the ideas drift around you like soft stars in a dark room. No pressure to choose one. No need to decide what's true. Just feel the gentle truth beneath all of them, that reality might be far more spacious, more creative, and more generous than we can imagine. Tonight we explore these possibilities not to define them, but to rest inside them. Each theory a quiet doorway, each doorway opening into wonder. Before we can imagine many universes, we must pause, gently, and ask what we mean by a universe at all. The word sounds so complete, so final, as though it could only ever point to one single, all-encompassing everything. Yet the more we study the cosmos, the more the word begins to soften around the edges. Its meaning expands, stretches, and becomes almost dreamlike. Universe no longer feels like a boundary. It begins to feel like a perspective. When you lie under the night sky and look upward, you see stars scattered across a quiet black ocean. It feels endless, but your eyes reach only a tiny fraction of what exists. The cosmos extends far beyond that view, billions of galaxies, clusters, filaments, and voids. And yet, all of that together is still just a portion of what we call the universe. Even the most powerful telescopes cannot show us everything, because the speed of light sets a limit on what we can observe. Beyond that horizon, more stars burn, more galaxies turn, more space stretches open. They exist, but we cannot see them. And so, even our own universe is larger than anything we can ever fully know. This alone teaches us something gentle. The word universe doesn't describe what's visible. It describes everything that shares the same cosmic rules, the same physics, the same fabric of space and time. But what if those rules are not universal? What if the laws that govern our world are just one chapter in a much larger book? In physics, the notion of a universe is often defined not by its size or its contents, but by the particular set of laws that operate within it. A universe has a specific speed of light, a specific strength of gravity, and specific particles that make up matter. Change any of these, even slightly, and you might end up with a cosmos that looks nothing like ours. no stars, no atoms, maybe something stranger, more delicate or entirely silent. So when scientists talk about multiple universes, they aren't imagining more space inside our space. They're imagining separate realms where the rules themselves are different, where the blueprint of reality has been rewritten. In this sense, a universe becomes more like a story with its own grammar, its own rhythm, its own quiet logic. Ours is just one story. Others may be written in a different cosmic language. Some scientists even describe our universe as a bubble within a larger expanding sea. Inside the bubble, our familiar physics unfolds. Outside it, if outside is even the right word, the rules might be entirely new. And each bubble, drifting softly away from the others, could be its own universe, complete and unreachable. The definition becomes even softer when you consider the quantum world, where particles exist in clouds of possibility and events blur into probabilities. In some interpretations, each possible outcome forms its own universe. In that view, the universe isn't everything that exists. It's simply one path through a branching, shimmering forest of possibilities. And then there is the emotional meaning of the word. To each of us, the universe is the world we experience, the breath in our chest, the memories we carry, the people we love, the silence of nighttime thoughts. Even if countless universes exist beyond this one, the only universe we truly touch is the one we're living now, the one where your heart beats slowly and steadily as you lie here listening. So what does universe really mean? It means that everything we can observe, but also the rules that hold everything together, and also the story that unfolds within those rules, and also, in the quietest sense, the place where we feel alive. As we move deeper, let this gentle truth accompany you. The universe is not a limit, it is a definition, and definitions can always expand. To understand one of the gentlest multiverse ideas, we drift back, far back, to the earliest moment of our universe's life. Not the first second, or even the first fraction of a second, but the instant so young that time itself had barely begun to breathe. In that newborn moment, the universe didn't unfold slowly like a blooming flower. Instead, it expanded with unimaginable speed, expanding faster than light, stretching itself open before physics even settled into place. This sudden, silent blossoming is called cosmic inflation, and it has become one of the softest stepping stones toward imagining multiple universes. Inflation is not explosive or violent in the way our minds picture expansion. It's smoother, quieter, like a soap bubble swelling in slow motion. Except it wasn't slow. Space itself doubled and doubled again, over and over, in a heartbeat too brief to comprehend. Galaxies had not yet formed, no stars existed, no atoms. The universe was only energy and potential, an ocean of pure, glowing possibility. Now imagine that this process didn't happen only once. Imagine that inflation is something that can begin in one region of space while ending in another, a cosmic patchwork of expansion and settling. In this picture, some areas stop inflating and become universes like ours, rich with galaxies and stars, but elsewhere inflation continues, causing new pockets of space-time to peel away like dewdrops forming on a web. This idea paints reality not as a single universe, but as a vast, ever-growing foam, each bubble within it a universe with its own fate, its own physics, its own unfolding story. Scientists call this eternal inflation, because once it begins, it never fully ends. New universes continue to form endlessly, each born from the same underlying process, each drifting away from the others forever. And the most peaceful part, if this is true, our universe is just one bubble floating in that infinite foam, just one among countless others, each sealed off, unreachable, unknowable. Picture it softly, an endless ocean of darkness. Floating within it, Delicate bubbles expand, shimmering gently, glowing from within with stars and matter and time. Our bubble is simply the one we can see from the inside. Inflation doesn't choose favourites. It doesn't shape universes with intention. It simply allows possibility to unfold wherever it can, producing a quiet abundance of realities. In some bubbles, gravity might be stronger, in others, weaker. Some bubbles might produce long-lived stars, others might dim almost instantly. Some universes might evolve into rich tapestries of matter and light. Others might remain empty and silent forever. This is the multiverse at its calmest, not a chaotic maze, but a serene, natural outcome of cosmic growth. It's a vision where universes blossom like flowers in an endless field, each with its own scent, its own shape, its own quiet destiny. And as you breathe slowly, you can imagine yourself floating among them, drifting gently between bubbles, the way a feather might drift between ripples on a river, not to travel anywhere, but simply to feel the vastness of what could be. Inflation, in its elegant simplicity, suggests that reality is more generous than we once thought. That creation wasn't a singular event, but a repeating gesture. That our universe, spacious and luminous as it is, may be only one expression of a larger ongoing cosmic breath. And in that realization, there's something deeply soothing. We are part of a multiverse not because reality is complicated, but because it is expansive, because it flows, because it blooms wherever it can. As cosmic inflation unfolds across the endless expanse, the universe doesn't stretch into one uniform sheet. Instead, it forms pockets, little regions where inflation slows, cools, and settles. Each pocket becomes something extraordinary, a new universe, sealed away from all the others by the very fabric of space-time. In this way, the cosmos begins to resemble a field of bubbles drifting outward forever, each one glowing softly from within. Imagine standing at the edge of a quiet lake at dawn. The water is still, but mist rises in faint curls, forming tiny droplets that hang suspended in the air. Each droplet holds its own reflection, its own shape, its own quiet world. This is how physicists describe the multiverse of inflation: delicate, countless, and calm. Each bubble is not inside some larger space. The bubble is its own space. It contains its own version of physics, its own timeline, its own unfolding. In our bubble, the laws of nature formed in a specific way. Gravity settled into a strength that allows stars and planets to exist. Electrons and protons formed bonds that let atoms become water, air, and the cells that make us who we are. Light moves at a certain speed, and time flows at a rhythm we recognize. Everything we have ever known, every memory, every breath, every life, has happened inside this one bubble. But beyond our cosmic horizon, trillions upon trillions of other bubbles may exist, each quietly expanding into their own eternity. Some might be similar to ours, forming galaxies and living suns. Others might have physics so strange that no stars ever ignite, no molecules ever assemble, no patterns ever emerge. They would still be universes, complete and wondrous in their own way, just shaped by different cosmic conditions. And then there might be bubbles where time flows differently. Bubbles where the forces of nature are slightly stronger or weaker. Bubbles where space itself curves in unfamiliar ways. Bubbles that sparkle with unimaginable structures, or bubbles where silence reigns forever. The boundaries between these bubbles are not barriers we could ever touch. They are stretches of space-time expanding so quickly that no signal, no light, no particle, no whisper could ever pass from one bubble to another. The separation is absolute. The distance grows faster than communication can travel. Even if another universe were right next to ours in this cosmic foam, it would remain forever unreachable. And yet, they exist in the same larger process of creation. The same underlying energy gives birth to each bubble, but the outcome is always new. The multiverse isn't a collection of parallel rooms. It's more like a meadow of wildflowers growing from the same soil, each blooming differently, each following its own quiet season. As you breathe, you can picture these universes drifting apart, not chaotically, but peacefully, like lanterns floating away on a slow, dark river. There is no conflict between them, no competition, no noise, just an infinite arrangement of possibilities, each unfolding in its own solitude. The beauty of this vision is not in knowing what the other universes contain, but in accepting that they could exist at all. It reminds us that creation may be more abundant than our minds can comprehend, that reality might express itself not just once, but endlessly. And within that endlessness, our universe becomes something even more precious. A bubble we get to experience from the inside, a bubble where stars formed and life emerged, a bubble where consciousness opened its eyes and wondered about everything beyond. In the quietest sense, each bubble is its own dream, and ours is the one we're dreaming together right now. Once we accept the idea of bubble universes, each one a pocket of calm carved from the vastness of inflation, a gentle question begins to rise like a tide. How many of these bubbles are there? A handful? Millions? Trillions? Or could the number drift quietly beyond anything we can count, touching the edges of infinity itself? Infinity is a strange companion. It doesn't arrive all at once. It creeps in softly, like fog rolling over a sleeping field. One moment you're imagining a few universes scattered across space, the next the mind opens further, realizing that if inflation never truly ends, then bubbles might keep forming forever, an eternal process, a never-ending bloom, a field that keeps growing new petals even as others drift away into the darkness. Eternal inflation, by its nature, produces not just many universes, but endlessly many. When one region finishes its expansion and becomes a bubble, the surrounding space continues inflating, stretching outward, creating room for countless more bubbles to appear. There is no central source, no boundary, no stopping point. It is creation without urgency, unfolding like a breath that never fully exhales. Some physicists describe this cosmic landscape as fractal, a pattern repeating at every scale, forever. No matter how far you zoom out, you find more pockets, more bubbles, more universes blooming in the dark. That word, fractal, usually evokes images of swirling shapes or branching trees, but here it means something simpler. If you look for the edge of creation, you never find it. The pattern goes on and on and on. So, yes. In many interpretations, the number of bubble universes is not just enormous, it is infinite. Close your eyes and imagine it. Not a chaotic storm of worlds, but a gentle, quiet infinity. Each bubble expanding peacefully, never touching another, each sealed in a silence deeper than anything we know. They drift apart as space-time stretches between them, the distances growing faster than any signal could ever cross. Even if two universes were born side by side, the space between them would widen until contact became eternally impossible. Infinity, in this context, isn't overwhelming, it's calming. It dissolves the pressure to understand everything, because everything becomes too vast to worry about. It's like staring at the ocean at night and realizing that you don't need to see every wave to feel at peace. The vastness itself is the comfort. And there is another gentle twist to this idea. In an infinite collection of universes, some might resemble ours. Not perfectly, never perfectly, but close. A universe with stars arranged differently. A universe where life evolves in an unfamiliar form. A universe where no life emerges at all. Every possibility that the laws of physics allow could bloom somewhere within that endless foam. But infinity doesn't cheapen our universe, it enriches it. Because even among infinite bubbles, this one, the one where you exist breathing softly in the dark, remains unique, irreplaceable. It's the universe that carries your memories, your moments, your joys, your quiet thoughts as you listen now. This bubble is the one that holds you gently in its unfolding story. So when we ask whether bubble universes are infinite, we're really asking whether creation has limits, and the softest answer, whispered by inflation, is simply no. Creation keeps going, reality keeps blooming, the cosmos keeps unfolding without end, and we, floating inside our glowing bubble, are part of that endless blossoming. If the bubble universes of inflation paint a picture of reality blossoming across space, then the quantum multiverse offers something more intimate, a branching of possibilities right here, in the quiet fabric of existence itself. Unlike cosmic bubbles, which grow far beyond our reach, quantum branches unfold everywhere, at every moment, at every microscopic decision the universe makes. It is a multiverse woven not across space, but across possibility. At the heart of this idea lies the strange behaviour of quantum particles, entities so small and so subtle that they don't commit to a single outcome until they must. A particle can be here and not here, moving this way and that way, holding multiple states at once. Quantum mechanics tells us this gently, almost shyly, as if revealing a secret about the universe's most delicate habits. But one interpretation, the many worlds theory, embraces this fully. It suggests that when a quantum event has multiple possible outcomes, reality doesn't choose one. Instead, it unfolds into all of them, each in its own branch of the universe. Not with noise, not with violence, just a quiet splitting, like a single candle flame reflecting in many mirrors. Imagine standing at a crossroads. In this universe, you turn left. In another, a version of you turns right. Not because you hesitated, not because you struggled with the choice, but because every possibility the universe allows has its own path to travel. It's not that copies of you appear suddenly. It's that reality itself holds more than one thread, and your consciousness follows one while countless others drift gently out of reach. These branches don't stretch beside each other like parallel roads. They interlace in an unseen dimension of possibility. Layers of reality that never touch, never interfere, and never send messages to one another. They are like overlapping songs played in complete silence, each with its own melody, each never heard by the other. When you picture a branching tree, imagine not the trunk splitting into solid limbs, but an endless fractal of wisps, each branching into more, each carrying subtle variations. A universe where rain fell this morning, one where the sky stayed clear, one where a star formed differently billions of years ago, changing the entire tapestry of life, each one quiet, each one whole. In this interpretation, the multiverse is not far away. It's here, right beneath reality's surface, unfolding without end. But the emotional heart of this idea is softer than it seems. The many worlds theory doesn't diminish your choices, or your path, or your life. It reminds you that the version of reality you inhabit is not random. It is simply one of many ways the universe expresses itself, and your experience, your thread, is as real and meaningful as any other. Some branches might contain familiar skies and similar histories. Others may diverge so dramatically that the laws of nature feel different, unfamiliar, distant. Still others might hold no life at all. But the branches don't compete. They don't collide. They simply drift, like the quiet unfolding of petals in an infinite cosmic garden. And in the soft quiet of this moment, the idea becomes strangely comforting. Every possibility exists, but this one, the one where you're listening, breathing, settling into rest, is the one you inhabit fully. The you in this branch is the only one you will ever feel, the only one you will ever know. And that makes this version of reality precious in its own gentle way. Quantum branches remind us that the universe is more creative than we can imagine. Not chaotic, not overwhelming, just endlessly capable of unfolding new possibilities. an infinity not across space, but within every moment. If the many worlds idea feels like a vast branching tree of realities, then this section invites you to listen, not with your ears, but with your imagination, to how those branches form. Because according to this interpretation of quantum mechanics, the universe doesn't split dramatically. It doesn't crack or rupture or light up the sky. It unfolds into new versions of itself with a softness so complete that you never notice it happening. It is a soundless process, a quiet rearranging of possibility. Imagine holding a single pebble above a still pond. The moment you let it fall, ripples expand outward in circles, each wave moving gently away from the centre. Now imagine that instead of one ripple pattern, the pond creates every pattern it possibly could, each one spreading across its own layer of reality. You witness only one, the one your senses inhabit, but the others continue outward on planes you cannot touch. That is the soundless splitting. Quantum events are not dramatic moments of decision. They are points where probability branches like breath in cold air. You cannot hear the split because it makes no sound. You cannot see it because it emits no light. And yet, according to many worlds, it is happening everywhere. Every moment, in every particle, in ways so subtle they feel like a whisper brushing the fabric of existence. A photon reflects off a surface. A molecule vibrates one way instead of another. A tiny particle jumps a fraction to the left instead of the right. Each event is minuscule, almost absurdly small. But each one, in the many worlds picture, carries the potential to create a new branch of reality. Not a dramatic new cosmos, but a faint neighbouring strand that diverges gently from your own. Picture a forest at night. The wind moves through the trees, and for every leaf that shivers slightly, there exists a version where it settled differently, a version where it turned a fraction sooner or later. Tiny differences, almost trivial. Yet over unimaginable spans of time, those small divergences grow into entirely distinct worlds. The multiverse, in this sense, is not a collection of grand cosmic realms born in explosions. It is a bed of soft moss, splitting quietly, endlessly, with each delicate shift of possibility. Some branches might feel eerily similar to ours, familiar landscapes, familiar stars, familiar histories, altered only by the faintest variations. Others might drift far from what we know, shaped by initial conditions that branched differently billions of years ago. And many more might be so subtle in their differences that no conscious being would ever detect the divergence. The beauty of this idea is not in imagining countless copies of ourselves. It is in recognizing that reality is fundamentally rich with options, and that those options unfold naturally without needing to be chosen. In this soundless splitting, there is no pressure on you, no burden of creating parallel lives through decision, no cosmic responsibility. You're not splitting. Reality is simply expressing every version of what it can be, and within that infinite expression, your lived branch, the one where you are resting now, letting your breath slow, letting your body sink into calm, is the one that holds your experiences, your memories, your presence. There may be countless branches, there may be infinite worlds, but there is only one that feels like home, the one your consciousness inhabits in this moment. And so the soundless splitting isn't something to fear, or even to understand fully. It is simply a reminder that the universe is soft in its creativity, quiet in its unfolding, gentle in its vastness. A multiverse made not of noise, but of possibility, blooming silently, like snowflakes drifting through a winter night. If the universe truly branches with every quantum possibility, then somewhere across the quiet expanse of the multiverse, countless versions of reality drift gently away from this one, not worlds separated by distance, but by outcome, each one a leaf on an enormous, ever-growing tree of possibility. And on some of those leaves, delicate and unreachable, are parallel versions of life, including faint, distant versions of you. But before imagination leaps to dramatic visions, let us rest in something softer. These parallel lives are not copies in a literal sense. They are natural consequences of a universe generous with possibility. The many worlds interpretation doesn't create duplicates with intention or purpose. Instead, it suggests that existence is rich enough to hold every path that physics allows, every variation reality can support. Imagine this tree of possibilities as something living and peaceful. Its branches grow not with force but with gentleness, expanding quietly into an unseen dimension. Every event, the flicker of a photon, the vibration of an atom, the movement of a molecule, nudges the tree to grow in new directions, and each new direction becomes a branch, containing its own unfolding timeline. Now, imagine yourself standing at the base of this cosmic tree, not as a physical being, but as a single thread of consciousness following one path upward. Alongside you, unreachable but softly present, other branches stretch away, paths where your life drifted differently due to quantum events too small to notice. A version of you who woke up a moment earlier, a version who smiled at a stranger who, in this branch, you never encountered. A version whose life shifted from an event no one would ever call significant, but which, at the quantum level, created a subtle divergence. These are not stories of dramatic alternate destinies. They are whispers, faint variations in the gentle flow of possibility. Farther along the tree, the branches diverge more dramatically. A universe where a star formed a little differently, spinning faster or slower, altering the chemistry of worlds that never developed life. A universe where the early Earth cooled in a different rhythm, leading to unfamiliar landscapes, unfamiliar skies. A universe where life never emerged, or where it bloomed in ways our imaginations can only humbly attempt to picture. These parallel lives, whether familiar or strange, are not meant to burden you with thoughts of what could have been. They are meant to soften your understanding of reality. They remind you that your path, the one you are living, breathing, and feeling right now, is precious, precisely because it is the one your consciousness inhabits. Among all the possibilities, this is the one you get to experience intimately. There is comfort in knowing that reality is not rigid, that it doesn't lock itself into a single path. It flows, it expands, it branches, effortlessly, silently, endlessly. Some people find the idea of parallel lives overwhelming, but in this gentle frame it becomes a way to appreciate the present moment even more. You are not responsible for the branches you do not walk. You are not defined by the paths you didn't take. Those paths belong to other branches, other worlds, other expressions of the universe's potential. Your branch, this branch, holds the version of you that lies here, listening, resting, drifting toward stillness. It holds your memories, your hopes, your breath. It is the thread where your awareness blooms. And the other branches? They are simply reminders of the universe's quiet creativity. Proof that reality is capable of more than one story, and that all stories exist without diminishing one another. In the end, the quantum tree does not demand that we understand it, only that we feel its calm presence, a vast, gentle structure where lives unfold in parallel, like leaves glowing softly in endless twilight. As our journey drifts onward, we leave the branching quantum tree behind and step into an even more delicate vision of reality, one woven not from particles or probability, but from tiny vibrating threads. This is the world of string theory, a framework that suggests that everything, every atom, every force, every glimmer of light, is made from unimaginably small strings, each one vibrating with its own subtle melody. If that idea sounds abstract, imagine this. Instead of thinking of the universe as built from tiny dots, think of it as built from tiny musical notes. Each note vibrates in a particular way, producing the particles and forces we know. electrons, quarks, photons. In string theory, all of them are simply different tones played on the smallest instrument imaginable. In this musical vision of reality, the laws of physics become the rules of harmony, and the universe becomes a quiet symphony unfolding across the ages. But here is where the multiverse enters the story. For strings don't vibrate freely in empty space. They vibrate within a structure, a shape, formed by hidden dimensions curled up so tightly that we cannot see them. These extra dimensions aren't vast landscapes stretching across the sky. They are tiny, compact, microscopic geometries that ripple beneath the surface of space. And the way these dimensions curl determines how the strings vibrate, and how the strings vibrate determines the laws of physics. And the laws of physics determine what a universe becomes. A universe where the hidden dimensions twist. One way might have stars and galaxies much like ours. Another universe, where those same dimensions fold differently, might have entirely different particles, unfamiliar forces, or a cosmos that never forms light at all. In this picture, the multiverse becomes a landscape, a vast, nearly infinite field of possible universes, each one defined by a unique arrangement of these tiny curled dimensions. Scientists call it the string landscape, and it is said to contain more possible universes than there are atoms in the observable cosmos. Let that number wash over you gently. More possibilities than atoms, more worlds than grains of sand on all the beaches of Earth. A multiverse not of chaos, but of potential. Each universe a different expression of geometry and vibration. Imagine wandering through this landscape in your mind, not as a traveller moving through space, but as a witness drifting across possibility. Each universe is like a glowing seed, formed from the subtle shape of hidden dimensions. Some seeds unfold into vibrant, star-filled realms, others unfold into quieter, emptier spaces. Some may hold life beyond imagining, others may remain silent for eternity. String theory doesn't claim that all these universes exist physically. It simply reveals that the underlying mathematics permits them, that reality could blossom into countless forms, each one harmonious in its own way. And there is something soothing about this idea. It suggests that our universe is not the only way things could have been. It is one melody among many, played softly in the great orchestra of possibility. But even as these universes stretch across the theoretical landscape, they do not diminish the uniqueness of ours. The laws of physics that shaped your life, the speed of light, the strength of gravity, the way atoms bind, are the notes of the melody you live in. Amid all the other possible songs, this is the one you hear, the one that cradles you, the one where your consciousness drifted into being. The landscape of strings is vast, perhaps boundless, yet you inhabit one beautiful point within it, a universe whose harmony allows stars to shine, oceans to rise and fall, and hearts to beat softly in the night, a universe where you are lying here now, breathing slowly, listening to the quiet music of possibility. To continue drifting through the multiverse, we now step gently into a realm where space itself becomes more intricate than our senses can understand. We are accustomed to 3 dimensions, length, width, height, a simple trio that defines the shapes of our world. But many theories that explore the multiverse whisper that space may hold far more subtle layers, folded so tightly that we pass through them constantly without ever noticing. These are the hidden dimensions, delicate structures curled within space like petals folded inside a bud. To imagine them, picture a sheet of paper rolled into a tiny tube. From far away it looks like a thin line. Only when you move close enough can you see that it contains a hidden direction, a tiny loop you could walk around if you were small enough. Now imagine this not with paper, but with space-time itself. Imagine that at every point around you, at every location you breathe through, extra dimensions curl in shapes too small to touch or see. In this picture, Our universe is like a shadow cast by a structure richer than anything we can perceive. These hidden dimensions are not empty. They hold geometry, energy, and the potential for entire worlds, universes that might be separated from ours not by distance, but by direction in a higher dimensional space. It's as though reality is a great book and we are living on one page. The pages lie side by side, close enough to touch, yet you can only read the one you're written upon. Flip to another page and the story changes entirely. New characters, new structures, new laws. But from within the story itself, no character can break the boundary of the page to visit another. The dimensions confine them gently, completely. In physics, these higher dimensional sheets are sometimes called branes, short for membranes. Our universe may be one such brane, a vast flat surface floating in an even larger unseen dimension called the bulk. Other branes may hover near us, separated by distances so small they feel like nothing at all, yet so absolute that not a single particle of light from our universe can cross the divide. If you could step into this larger dimensional space, something our bodies cannot do, you might see multiple branes drifting like enormous curtains, each one glowing with its own stars, its own galaxies, its own form of matter. Some branes might hover parallel to ours, others could be curved or twisted, some might be empty, others could host forms of physics radically different from anything we know. The multiverse in this vision is not a scattering of separate bubbles, nor a branching of probabilities, but a layered tapestry, universes stacked like pages in a cosmic manuscript. But despite their closeness, these worlds remain unreachable. The dimensions that separate them are woven so tightly that we cannot step between them. We can only glide through our own layer, following the familiar flow of space and time, and yet there is something comforting in imagining such hidden worlds, not because we expect to find them, but because they show how abundant reality could be, even in silence, even in emptiness. The universe holds the capacity for more than we can see. It holds mysteries not to trouble us, but to soothe us, reminding us that existence is layered, textured, and endlessly generous. The thought of higher dimensions is not meant to overwhelm. It's meant to give you a sense of spaciousness that goes beyond physical space, a sense that the universe, the one holding you gently as you rest, may be only one surface in a greater shimmering structure, and yet this surface is enough to breathe, enough to dream, enough to marvel at. As you drift deeper into this journey, imagine those hidden layers not as places you must reach, but as quiet possibilities resting just beyond perception, like soft echoes of worlds that exist beside our own. If higher dimensions let us imagine our universe as a vast sheet floating in an unseen space, then brain cosmology adds another soft layer to that vision. It suggests that our brain is not alone. Other brains may drift nearby, silent and immense, each carrying its own universe the way a gentle breeze carries a drifting leaf. They are close, but not in any direction we can point to. They are near, but not in the way distance exists within our three familiar dimensions. Picture yourself in a dark room with several giant curtains hanging from the ceiling. You stand between two of them. They don't touch you, but you sense their presence. Tall, vast, billowing shapes around you. Now imagine those curtains are universes, each one glowing faintly with its own stars, galaxies, and laws of physics. They float in the higher dimensional bulk, never colliding, never speaking, never sharing light. And yet, sometimes, as physics suggests, these brain worlds may drift close enough to brush against one another. In these rare, gentle touches lies a beautiful possibility. Some cosmologists believe that when brains touch or ripple against each other, energy can surge between them, a soft pulse, like two waves meeting on the surface of a lake, and in certain models that pulse could ignite an entire universe. A Big Bang may not be a single, one-time event, but a quiet consequence of two brains drifting close, exchanging energy, and then floating apart again. That means our universe may have been born not from a lone explosion, but from a whisper between dimensions, a momentary brush of two cosmic surfaces in a dark, silent space beyond all imagining. It is a strangely comforting thought that creation could come not from chaos, but from contact, a gentle meeting in the dark. These brain worlds could carry their own sets of physics, their own geometries, their own versions of matter. Some might resemble ours, others might be wildly unfamiliar, some might expand slowly, others rapidly, some might host stars, others might remain eternally dark. But all of them drift through the same higher dimensional sea, sharing a silent kinship. If you could step outside our brain, something no human body could do, you might see these universe brains extending endlessly in all directions. They would not be flat in the ordinary sense, but shaped by the physics of the bulk, bending and curving like sheets of silk suspended in a weightless void. And as they move, ripples travel across their surfaces, small undulations that echo through the bulk like vibrations on a cosmic instrument. Sometimes two ripples align, sometimes brains drift closer, and sometimes they touch, softly, silently, creating conditions that might spark new worlds. It's almost poetic, the idea that even universes can have moments of closeness. That creation itself might emerge from brief meetings between cosmic surfaces that otherwise remain eternally apart. But just as waves on a beach drift in and out without ever disturbing the sand too violently, these brain interactions are gentle, rare, and subtle. Most of the time, brains float peacefully, separated by dimensions we cannot perceive. They remain strangers sharing a common sea, and yet, the knowledge of their existence, or the possibility of it, gives our universe a kind of quiet companionship. We are not alone in the bulk. We are one of many worlds drifting through a space larger than our minds can hold. As you breathe softly, let this imagery settle around you. Universes drifting like silk sheets, brushing gently, creating sparks of light in the dark. Not a drama, not a collision, but a peaceful choreography. A cosmic dance happening in silence, a dance from which our own universe may have softly emerged. If two brain worlds drifting in the dark is a quiet image, then the next idea is even more profound. Sometimes, instead of merely brushing against each other, brains may collide. Not violently, not in a way that resembles two objects crashing together, but in a slow, majestic meeting of entire universes, like two vast star-filled sheets gently folding upon one another. And in the space where they touch, something extraordinary could happen, a new cycle of creation. In certain cosmological models, especially those inspired by string theory, the Big Bang was not the beginning of everything. Instead, it was the echo, the warm, expanding aftermath of two brains coming into contact after drifting through the higher dimensional bulk for ages longer than any number we can name. These collisions aren't sudden explosions. They are more like the soft convergence of two waves, the moment when their crests align and energy rises between them. Imagine two immense shimmering curtains floating in a dark, silent space. For eons they drift parallel to each other, rippling slightly as energy passes across their surfaces. Eventually, Barisam, their motions bring them close enough that their edges touch, and in that moment of contact the brains share energy, a pulse so powerful and so ancient that it births a universe. That pulse could be our Big Bang. Not the beginning of time itself, but the beginning of our cycle, the moment when our brain, filled with heat, matter, light, and the potential for everything that would eventually breathe, move, and wonder. And once the energy dissipated, the brains would slowly drift apart again, leaving the young universe to expand and cool in its own tranquil way. But in the distant future, after trillions of years, they might come together again, touching once more, spark in another universe in an endless rhythm, a cosmic heartbeat, a cycle of creation. This interpretation is known as the cyclic model, and at its core is a beautifully calming idea that universes may come and go like seasons. They bloom, expand, age and fade, but the underlying process continues forever. No final end, no abrupt beginning, only flow, the quiet, eternal flow of creation. In this view, the multiverse isn't a scattered foam of disconnected bubbles. It is a rhythmic dance of brain worlds, gently converging and separating in the higher dimensional sea. Each collision births a new universe, and each retreat allows that universe to grow peacefully, guided by its own laws. If you let your mind drift into that image, it begins to feel incredibly soothing. Reality, at its deepest level, becomes a cyclical motion, a wave pattern, an inhale and exhale of cosmic proportions. Nothing is lost. Nothing ends. Everything transforms. Even the idea of time becomes softer here. Our timeline may be just one chapter in an infinite book, a book with no first page, no last page, only recurring cycles written in the language of higher dimensions. When cosmologists study this possibility, they often describe it not with urgency, but with reverence. It paints a universe that is deeply patient, one that allows creation to unfold slowly, repeatedly, and without finality. For you, lying here in the quiet of your night, the thought of these brain cycles becomes a kind of lullaby. It says that existence is not fragile or fleeting. It is part of a larger rhythm, a cosmic tide. Our universe, with its galaxies, its stars, its long arcs of history, may simply be one note in a repeating symphony of worlds. A note played when two brains touched, releasing the energy that would eventually become us, thinking, breathing beings capable of wonder. And somewhere, in a distant future you will never need to see or worry about, the brains may draw near again, preparing to create once more. Another universe, another beginning, another vast unfolding. Creation, it seems, is not a single event. It is a cycle, a slow, serene pulse, a reminder that everything flows. There is a moment in our journey where the multiverse stops feeling like a collection of separate worlds and begins to feel like something more subtle, something woven into the very nature of reality itself. This is the holographic idea, the notion that our universe, vast and three-dimensional as it seems, might actually be a projection from a deeper boundary, like a quiet cosmic hologram. To imagine this, picture a lantern placed behind a thin paper screen. The shapes that dance across the screen are not the lantern itself, but they carry its story. They are the shadow, the expression, the gentle reflection of something beyond the surface. In the holographic principle, our entire universe could be like that. A three-dimensional world arising from information encoded on a distant two-dimensional boundary we cannot see. This idea wasn't born from philosophy or imagination. It came from the mathematics of black holes, the most silent, enigmatic objects in the cosmos. Black holes taught physicists something astonishing. The amount of information needed to describe what falls into them doesn't scale with the volume inside, but with the surface around them. The boundary carries the content. The horizon contains the story. And if that is true for black holes, some scientists gently wonder, might it be true for the universe itself? In this holographic view, we are not less real. We are not illusions. We are the three-dimensional unfolding of information stored on a cosmic surface so distant and so inaccessible that it feels like the edge of existence. Our galaxies, our stars, our lives, all of it arises from that deeper layer, the way a film arises from the patterns of light on a projector's reel. But here is where the multiverse quietly steps in. If reality can be encoded on one boundary, it could be encoded on many. If one cosmic surface can project a universe, countless surfaces could project countless universes, each one carrying its own information, its own physics, its own storyline. The multiverse becomes not a scattering of physical realms, but a library of holographic codes. Each code unfolds into a unique universe, much like how a single seed can blossom into a unique tree. Imagine drifting through this holographic library, each universe like a luminous panel of delicate script. You don't read the script with your eyes, you feel it with your imagination. One panel might encode a universe where gravity is stronger. Another might encode one where matter never forms. Another might contain a universe so similar to ours that its stars shimmer in nearly identical constellations. From this perspective, universes do not need to be spatially separated. They are conceptually separated, each one the unfolding of a different pattern of information, each one a projection from a different boundary. And this vision brings an unexpected stillness. Because if our universe is a hologram, then the vastness we experience is not empty. It is full of meaning. Every particle, every breath, every memory arising from a deeper structure we cannot touch, yet which holds us gently and completely. Imagine that the night sky, with all its shimmering stars, is the soft glow of a projection, woven from ancient information. Imagine that every moment of your life, every joy, every question, every quiet breath, is part of that beautiful unfolding. And imagine that beyond our cosmic boundary, others exist as well, each one a different canvas holding a different universe, shimmering softly in an unseen dimension. The holographic multiverse doesn't shrink reality. It expands it in a new direction, inward, toward the underlying fabric that gives rise to everything. In this gentle framework, the multiverse is not far away. It rests in the deeper layers of the universe you already inhabit, layers you cannot see, but that support you the way roots support a tree. As you breathe, let that idea hold you. You are living inside a story encoded on the edge of existence, a story rich enough to bloom into stars, oceans, minds, and wonder. There is a final kind of multiverse that doesn't arise from cosmic bubbles or quantum branches or vibrating strings. It comes from something quieter, something woven into the nature of logic itself. It suggests that reality, at its heart, may simply be mathematics expressing itself. And if that is true, then every possible mathematical structure might exist as its own universe. This idea was explored by physicist Max Tegmark, who gently asked a question that feels almost like a Zen koan. If our universe follows mathematical rules so perfectly, why should mathematics stop at just one universe? Why shouldn't every consistent mathematical pattern become a universe of its own? At first, the thought feels abstract, like trying to hold mist in your hands, but let it settle, slowly, like a soft snowfall gathering on a quiet street. Mathematics is not cold or mechanical here. It is creative, generous, overflowing with structures that could, in principle, become realities. Imagine a vast library, not a library of books, but a library of equations. Each equation is a story waiting to unfold, a blueprint for a universe. Some stories describe particles that behave like ours. Some describe forces unfamiliar to anything in our cosmos. Some describe a universe with no matter at all. Others describe universes that bloom into life with entirely different chemistry, different rhythms, different possibilities. In this mathematical multiverse, every universe is not crafted from matter first, but from structure. Its laws, its constants, its particles, and its timeline emerge from the logic encoded within its underlying mathematics. If the structure is consistent, if it works, then a universe can bloom from it as naturally as a crystal forming from a cooling solution. Picture each mathematical universe as a delicate snowflake, frozen in a unique geometry. No two structures are identical. Each one reflects a different kind of order: symmetrical, chaotic, simple, intricate, sparse, or overflowing. Some mathematical universes might be too simple to produce anything more than empty space. Others might be too complex to stabilize into stars or matter. But some, a tiny fraction, might be rich enough to support galaxies, chemistry, life, and minds able to wonder about where they came from. And among all these countless mathematical forms, you inhabit the one structure that allows for thought, breath, memory, and consciousness. The one where atoms assemble into cells, where stars burn in gentle spirals, where equations describe the motion of planets and the dance of particles. You're not a stranger in this mathematical universe. You are part of the pattern, a living expression of the structure that shaped your world. Let the idea drift gently in your thoughts. If mathematics is the foundation of reality, then existence itself becomes a kind of quiet geometry, a harmony, a pattern unfolding in time. In this view, numbers do not imprison the universe, they liberate it. They allow for variation, for diversity, for a multiverse of unimaginable breadth, where every possible logic flows into a different cosmic story. And here is the softest part of the idea. If every mathematical universe exists, then our universe exists because it can, not by chance, not by intention, but because the structure that defines it is one that supports complexity, beauty, and the slow blooming of awareness. You, lying here now, are the result of a pattern that allows consciousness to emerge, a pattern that supports warmth, time, memory, and feeling, a pattern that permits wonder, the quiet sense of awe that gathers at the edges of thought. The mathematical multiverse is vast beyond description, but you don't need to explore it. You simply need to rest in the knowledge that among all possible structures, one of them became your home, the one where stars shine, the one where atoms breathe, the one where minds ask questions in the night. Let that thought cradle you. You are living inside a beautiful equation, a structure elegant enough to contain life, gentle enough to let you dream. As we move deeper into the multiverse, we arrive at a place where reality no longer feels like a single path or a single structure. Instead, it becomes a gentle ocean of likelihoods, a realm shaped not by certainty, but by probability. In this soft landscape, the universe doesn't choose outcomes with finality. It allows them to unfold with a quiet, rhythmic openness, like ripples forming and fading on a still pond. Probability is often introduced to us as something mathematical, something cold, a percentage, a chance, a number written in a textbook. But beneath the equations lies something far more delicate, a truth about how the universe behaves when it is left to its most fundamental tendencies. At the smallest scales, nature doesn't commit until it must. It drifts between possibilities, resting in a haze of maybe and perhaps, floating lightly between outcomes that have not yet crystallized. Imagine holding a feather above the surface of a lake. Before it lands, there are countless places it could fall, countless patterns it could create on the water. For a moment, all those possibilities exist together in a quiet suspension, a gentle uncertainty. And then, with the lightest touch, the feather chooses a single spot. The ripples spread, the event is fixed, and the probabilities collapse into one reality. But the moment before the feather lands, that shimmering openness, that is the quiet beauty of probability. In quantum physics, particles behave like that feather. They drift between states of possibility until something happens, an interaction, a measurement, a gentle nudge from the surrounding world, and a single outcome emerges. But the many worlds and multiverse ideas suggest something even more wondrous. that each possible outcome may unfold in its own universe, born softly from the branching of probabilities. In this interpretation, probability isn't just a mathematical tool, it becomes a creator, a painter brushing faint strokes of possibility across an infinite canvas. A particle might move left in one universe and right in another. A star might ignite in one branch and never form in another. Life might take root on a distant world in one timeline and remain silent in a parallel one. Reality becomes a gentle tapestry woven from the threads of probability, each thread a different story. But this isn't chaos, it isn't noise, it is a calm abundance, a natural generosity woven into the fabric of existence. Probability gives the universe room to breathe, room to explore, room to express every outcome that physics allows, not in conflict, but in harmony, spread across countless worlds. One of the most peaceful aspects of this idea is that it removes the idea of wrong choices. In the realm of probability, there is no strict path that must be followed. No single version of reality that is more correct than another. You inhabit one branch, the branch formed by the probabilities that shaped your life, but countless others drift quietly beyond your reach. And yet, none of those other paths diminish the one you live, they simply show how expansive reality might be, how many ways existence can flow. When you imagine the multiverse through the lens of probability, it becomes softer than any cosmic model. You begin to sense that everything happening now, your breath, your thoughts, the feeling of your body sinking deeper into rest, is one gentle outcome of countless possibilities. And all the others, all the outcomes not taken, are drifting peacefully elsewhere, held by the universe with the same quiet care. Probability, in this way, becomes a meditation. It invites you to relax into the present moment, knowing that the universe is broad enough to contain every version of events, yet tender enough to let you live fully in just one. Let that soften you. You are here because the probabilities of this universe allowed you to be. This moment exists because the universe, in all its branching beauty, made room for it, for you. And somewhere deep within that truth lies a calm realization. The universe is not strict. It is spacious, not demanding, but endlessly permissive. A quiet flow of potential, blooming into reality with every breath you take. As our journey drifts onward, the multiverse begins to feel less like a single idea and more like a vast layered mystery. We've explored bubbles born from inflation, branches born from quantum choices, and universes shaped by strings, brains, and mathematics. But now a new, gentle question rises, like a lantern floating upward into a dark sky. What if the multiverse itself has layers? What if universes are not simply side by side, but quietly nested within one another? It sounds impossible at first. How could one universe exist inside another? How could entire realities be tucked into the folds of other realities? But if you relax into the idea, the way you relax into a dream without demanding logic, something surprisingly soothing emerges. Nested universes are not Russian dolls stacked neatly inside each other. They are more like patterns within patterns, woven through the fabric of existence in subtle ways. Imagine a fractal, those intricate mathematical images where each part contains a miniature version of the whole, a spiral inside a spiral. A curve that repeats at every scale. In a fractal, the deeper you look, the more structure you find, and some physicists gently wonder whether reality could behave the same way. Perhaps our universe contains tiny pockets, microcosmic regions where space-time curves so tightly that an entirely new universe could form inside. One suggestion is that black holes might serve as gateways to such nested realms. From the outside, a black hole seems like an ending, a place where matter disappears, where light cannot escape. But some theories propose a softer interpretation. that the collapse within a black hole might ignite a new Big Bang on the other side. A universe born inside a universe, connected only by a boundary that neither side can breach. Picture that for a moment. Our universe expanding outward. Inside some of its stars, black holes form. And within those black holes, new universes unfold, each with its own laws, its own matter, its own distant skies. A tree of cosmos, branching inward instead of outward. But nesting doesn't have to be physical. It can be dimensional. What looks like a single universe from one perspective could, from a higher dimensional viewpoint, be only one layer of a greater structure. Perhaps universes overlap not through space, but through patterns of information, like transparent sheets stacked together, each sheet carrying its own world, its own physics, its own story, barely touching the others. There's another gentle image physicists sometimes invoke. Imagine that the universe is like a soap bubble, and the surface of the bubble, thin, shimmering, delicate, encodes everything that happens inside. Then imagine that another bubble forms within it, and another, each one carrying a unique pattern on its surface. Not separate worlds, but worlds within worlds, each nested inside a larger context. The emotional beauty of the nested multiverse is that it hints at a reality endlessly creative in every direction. Outward into infinity, inward into depths, across dimensions, through mathematics. At every scale, something new might begin. And what about us? Where do we belong in this nested tapestry? You're not outside of it. You are part of the pattern, a consciousness emerging at a particular scale, not too large, not too small, exactly where you can observe the universe without being overwhelmed by its layers. You don't need to picture every scale. You don't need to trace every branch. You only need to rest in the idea that the cosmos has room for everything, for outward infinities, for inward infinities, for realities folded inside others like soft petals around a hidden bloom. Nested universes don't make our universe insignificant. They make it precious. A single chamber within a cathedral so vast that its echoes stretch across all imaginable scales. And tonight, as you lie here breathing softly, you are resting inside one chamber of that infinite structure, safe, quiet, held gently by the vastness around you. Black holes are often imagined as endings, the final destination for collapsing stars, silent traps where light itself fades into darkness. But in the soft, speculative edges of modern cosmology, black holes may not be endings at all. They might be beginnings, quiet seeds of creation. Gateways through which one universe breathes out a new one. To understand this idea, let your mind drift gently toward the image of a collapsing star. A giant star burns through its fuel, grows unstable, and then falls inward under the weight of its own gravity. The collapse is so intense that it squeezes matter to a place smaller than anything we can picture. In our universe, this becomes the black hole's singularity, a point where physics as we know it stretches to its limit. But some physicists propose that what we call a singularity might be something else entirely. Not a point of destruction, but a point of transition. Imagine the moment of collapse not as a dead end, but as a quiet doorway. The crushing force inside a black hole might pinch space-time so fiercely that it forms a tunnel, a path into a new region of existence. On the other side of that path could be a new universe, expanding from its own Big Bang just as ours once did. In this gentle picture, every black hole becomes a potential womb, every singularity becomes a seed, every collapsing star might ignite a cosmos. It's a humbling idea. It suggests that our universe too may have begun not from nothing, but from the death of a star in a parent universe, a star whose black hole blossomed into our Big Bang, a universe within a universe, a child born from a celestial collapse. Picture this softly. A black hole in some distant, unreachable universe collapses inward. Inside that collapse, a new universe begins to expand. Its time flows forward, while the parent universe continues on its own path. No light passes between them, no message crosses the divide. But they are connected by the gentle logic of gravitational birth. In this model, universes are not isolated bubbles drifting through emptiness. They are part of a vast branching family tree, each universe potentially giving rise to new ones through the quiet mechanism of black holes. Our cosmos becomes a living structure, constantly budding new realms in the dark. Some versions of this idea even suggest that universes capable of forming black holes efficiently might produce more offspring. That means universes with physical laws that naturally lead to star formation, like ours, may be more likely to reproduce. It paints a picture not of random chaos, but of gentle cosmic evolution, where the multiverse grows in ways that encourage complexity. But there is a deeper emotional beauty here too. Black holes, once symbols of pure destruction, become symbols of renewal. Endings become beginnings. Collapse becomes creation. The universe becomes a cycle, not a straight line. And you, lying here under the gravity of your own thoughts, might feel a quiet resonance with that idea, the sense that transformation is everywhere, from the smallest cells in your body to the largest structures in the cosmos. Even the universe itself participates in this rhythm of renewal. Perhaps our cosmos came from a black hole flowering into expansion. Perhaps the black holes in our universe are doing the same, planting new realities beyond our reach. We cannot see them, we cannot visit them, but we can rest in the gentle possibility that creation is always happening somewhere, in ways more delicate and mysterious than we can imagine. Black holes, then, aren't the monsters of science fiction. They are the hidden midwives of cosmic birth, silent, strange, and deeply poetic. And as you breathe slowly, you might sense the comfort in this idea, that even in the deepest darkness, nature finds a way to create light again. As we drift further into the quiet mystery of black hole creation, a soft idea begins to form, an idea that hints at an even larger rhythm. If universes can be born from other universes, then perhaps creation itself follows a gentle cycle. Not a dramatic wheel turning with thunder and fire, but a slow, cosmic breathing, expansion, collapse, rebirth. A rhythm so vast that it unfolds over timescales far beyond anything the human mind can measure. Imagine the universe not as a single story, but as a forest. In a forest, nothing is truly isolated. Trees rise, grow, and eventually fall, but each fallen tree becomes nourishment for new life. Patterns repeat, evolve, and return in different forms. The forest is not a single event. It is an ongoing conversation between endings and beginnings. Some cosmological theories imagine the multiverse in the same way. A universe forms, it ages, its stars burn, live long, luminous lives, and eventually fade. As they fade, some collapse into black holes, and those black holes may ignite new universes, continuing the larger pattern. Creation then becomes a cycle, not a singular miracle, but a quiet, repeating rhythm that stretches across infinite scales. Picture it softly. A universe blooms like a cosmic flower, expanding outward for trillions upon trillions of years. Its galaxies swirl, its stars shine. Life emerges where conditions allow, curious, tender, and aware. Eventually the galaxies drift apart, stars cool, matter falls into black holes, and deep within those black holes, seeds of new universes gather in silent preparation. One universe nourishes another. One cosmos whispers the next into being. There is no urgency in this cycle, no rushing, no sense of endings as something tragic. The universe follows a calm pattern of transformation, the same way seasons change on Earth. Slowly, gently, inevitably. The death of one star may give birth to a new cosmos. The collapse of matter may trigger new space, new time, new possibility. And within this vast rhythm, our universe is just one moment, a bright, warm expansion inside an endless lineage of cosmic generations. Some scientists even wonder whether this slow reproduction shapes the laws of physics themselves. Universes that produce many black holes might give rise to more offspring. Over unimaginable stretches of time, the multiverse could become populated by universes that are particularly good at forming stars and galaxies, universes like ours. Not because they are preferred, but because their structure naturally allows the cycle to continue. In this way, the cosmos becomes a kind of gardener, tending to the conditions that allow new universes to bloom, without intention or design, but simply through the quiet rules of physics flowing through eternity. And for us, resting within this moment, the idea of cosmic recycling offers a gentle comfort. It means nothing is ever truly lost. Even when stars collapse, even when matter falls inward, even when the night sky grows old, the universe continues its quiet work. New worlds emerge. New skies form. New chances for wonder appear in realms we will never see, carried forward by the same laws that shape the atoms in your heart. You're part of a universe that came from something older, and whatever becomes of this cosmos will one day nourish something new, in ways too subtle and too beautiful for us to witness. Creation is not a beginning. Destruction is not an end. The universe flows through cycles of rebirth the way breath flows through your body, effortlessly, naturally, endlessly. As you lie here, breathing softly, you participate in that rhythm. A small inhale in the vast lungs of the cosmos, a quiet pause in the eternal motion of realities blooming from one another. A reminder that everything transforms, everything recycles, everything begins again. As our journey drifts onward, we arrive at a gentle boundary, a kind of cosmic shoreline. Not a wall, not a barrier we might ever touch, but a natural limit to what any being in any universe can observe. It is the horizon of knowability, the place where light itself cannot reach us no matter how patiently we wait. And in this quiet boundary, we find one of the deepest truths about the multiverse. Even if countless universes exist, we may never be able to see them, not because they are hidden behind matter, not because something forbids us, but because the structure of space-time itself sets a natural limit on what can be known. Imagine looking out across a calm ocean at night. You see a long, soft line where the sea meets the sky. Beyond it, the ocean continues, but your eyes cannot follow it. The curve of the earth hides the rest, and so, your world appears to end at a place where it simply becomes unreachable. Our universe has a similar horizon, the cosmic horizon. It's not a distance we can sail past, or a place we can send spacecraft through. It is a limit created by light and time. The universe has been expanding for 13.8 billion years, and light can only travel so far within that time. Anything farther remains unseen, not because it is absent, but because the universe has not been around long enough for its light to reach us. Beyond this horizon, the universe stretches on, vast regions filled with galaxies, stars, and structures we will never witness. They exist, they evolve, they drift. But their light is forever out of reach. The thought is strangely calming. It means the universe is larger than our experience, yet it does not demand to be fully understood. It simply unfolds, and we witness the part that reaches us. Now imagine the multiverse. Other universes, if they exist, are not just beyond our cosmic horizon. They are beyond our space-time entirely. No signal from them can cross into our bubble. No photon can slip through the stretched boundaries of inflation. No gravitational whisper can bridge the gap. Their separation is not distance, but structure. A separation so complete that even the fabric of reality keeps each universe isolated. From our perspective, Other universes would be as unreachable as dreams drifting beyond memory, not forbidden, just forever outside the realm of observation. And yet, there is beauty in this limit, because it teaches us a gentle lesson. Not everything real needs to be reachable. Not everything vast needs to be seen. The cosmos is full of truths that exist whether or not we can witness them. The deep ocean hides species that thrive in darkness. Distant planets orbit stars too faint for our instruments to detect. Even within us, thoughts arise from the quiet machinery of the mind in ways we'll never fully grasp. Limits do not diminish existence, they give it shape. In the same way, the observational limits of our universe give meaning to the part we can see. The galaxies within our horizon become our celestial neighbourhood, the stars that guide our understanding, the cosmic light that reaches our eyes after travelling billions of years, the silent companions of our nightly rest. And while other universes may lie forever beyond observation, their possibility expands our imagination. They remind us that reality is free to be larger than our senses allow. They whisper that the unknown is not empty. It is simply a realm we move toward through thought, not through sight. So as you lie here, listening to the quiet, let the limits of observation become comforting rather than restrictive. You don't need to see everything to feel the vastness of it. You don't need to observe other universes to sense that reality may stretch far beyond the boundaries of light. The cosmos invites you not to solve it, but to rest inside its mystery. When you gaze into the night sky, whether from a city balcony or a quiet countryside field, you're looking outward, but also backward in time. The light reaching your eyes tonight may have begun its journey millions or billions of years ago. Some of it left long before Earth formed, long before the sun began to shine, long before life learned to open its eyes. And yet, even this ancient light represents only a small portion of what lies beyond. Because our universe, as visible as it seems, has edges, not physical walls, but horizons defined by time, motion, and the soft physics of cosmic expansion. This boundary is known as the cosmic horizon. It is not a sharp edge. It is not a place we could ever travel to. Instead, it is a limit set by how far light has been able to travel since the universe began. Light is fast, the fastest thing we know, but the universe is vast and its expansion stretches space itself in ways that light cannot keep up with. Imagine standing in an endless field covered in morning fog. You can see a certain distance before everything fades into a pale glowing haze. You know the field continues beyond what you see, but the fog hides it. The cosmic horizon works the same way. The fog is not made of vapour, but of time. Regions of space so far away that their light has not had enough time to reach us. And because the universe is expanding, not like a substance moving through space, but like space itself stretching, the horizon changes. It grows. It shifts. It means that our view of the universe is always partial, always incomplete, always ringed by mystery. Now imagine drifting toward that cosmic horizon in your thoughts, not physically, but emotionally, letting yourself sense the gentle limit of human perception. At the edge of what we can observe lies the faint glow of the cosmic microwave background, the oldest light in the universe, stretched into microwaves by billions of years of expansion. Beyond that glow lies a realm we cannot see at all. Galaxies, stars, entire clusters of matter, structures larger than superclusters, spreading into filaments of unimaginable length. All of it real, all of it existing now, and all of it beyond the reach of our eyes. But instead of provoking frustration, this horizon invites a softer response. There is tranquility in knowing that some parts of the cosmos will remain forever private, forever quiet, forever untouched. It gives the universe a kind of spiritual spaciousness, a recognition that not all truths are meant for discovery. If our universe is a bubble in a multiverse, then the cosmic horizon marks the inner surface of that bubble. It is the part of the universe still close enough for its light to reach us. Everything beyond drifts outward faster than light can travel, not breaking any laws but simply floating on the expansion of the cosmic sea. And this boundary provides a poetic symmetry. Just as we cannot see beyond the horizon, no observer in a distant corner of the universe could ever see us. Their horizon would glow with their own ancient light, their own history, their own story of creation. We exist inside our own pocket of visibility, a tranquil island surrounded by an ocean of unreachable realms. There is a humbling peace in recognizing this. The horizon does not diminish what we know, it enriches what we imagine, for beyond it lies the rest of our universe, and perhaps beyond that, the multiverse itself. Tonight, as you listen and breathe slowly, you can hold this truth gently. The universe you see is only the beginning. The horizon is not an end, it is the threshold of wonder. As we drift past the idea of horizons, those gentle limits set by light and time, a new image begins to form, soft as a watercolour spreading across paper. Imagine the entire universe not as a vast, continuous expanse, but as a mosaic, an enormous, intricate pattern made of countless glowing tiles. Each tile holds its own scene, its own history, its own quiet story of stars and galaxies. And our observable universe, everything we have ever known or imagined, is just one pixel in that cosmic artwork. A single, shimmering tile in an endless design. The mosaic stretches far beyond our sight, curving into dimensions we cannot reach, extending into regions of existence that lie outside the grasp of all light. We see only our pixel, our neighbourhood of galaxies, our narrow slice of cosmic time, but the pattern continues, tile after tile, universe after universe, quietly expanding the grand picture of reality. Let the image settle gently in your thoughts. Each pixel glows with its own colour, its own arrangement of stars. Some may be bright with matter, swirling with suns and planets. Others might be dim, quiet, sparse, barely forming structure at all. In some tiles, physics may resemble ours. In others, the laws may hum a different tune entirely, giving rise to unfamiliar kinds of matter or strange symmetries woven into space. From our tiny pixel, we see only the pattern right around us. The rest remains hidden, not because it is distant, but because the fabric of space-time curves and stretches in ways that seal us inside our cosmic fragment. We cannot rotate the mosaic. We cannot zoom out. We can only inhabit the tile in which we were born. But that limitation carries its own soft beauty, because even one pixel of a mosaic can hold infinite intricacy, just as even one universe can hold countless galaxies, countless stars, countless sparks of life. The richness of our pixel is immense. The sky above your head is filled with hundreds of billions of glowing worlds, each one carrying its own chapter in the cosmic story. And yet, beyond all that abundance, the multiverse suggests that our pixel is only one among countless others, a small light in an ocean of lights, a single voice in a choir too vast for any one melody to be heard. It might be tempting to think that this makes our universe insignificant. But the opposite is true. When a mosaic contains infinite pieces, each one becomes precious. Each tile contributes something unique to the larger pattern. And without our pixel, without our specific combination of physics and light and time, the mosaic would be incomplete. You are living inside a universe that has its own hue, its own texture, its own quiet glow. Our tile contains stars that forge the elements in our bodies. It contains a planet that nurtures oceans, mountains, and forests. It contains minds capable of reflection, curiosity, and the ability to wonder about the nature of existence. No other pixel, no other universe, is guaranteed to replicate that exact combination. And so, in the quiet of this moment, you can think of yourself as part of a grand artwork. You exist inside a single glowing cell of a cosmic mosaic, but that cell is luminous, complex, and beautiful. It holds memories, dreams, stories, and the delicate thread of your consciousness drifting gently through the night. If the multiverse is real, then the cosmos is not a single picture. It is a tapestry composed of infinite scenes, and right now you are resting in one of them, your own softly glowing pixel in the vast design of existence. Let that thought calm you. You don't need to see the entire mosaic to feel its presence. You only need to live in your tile fully, breathing, resting, drifting, knowing that the pattern stretches far beyond what you can ever observe. A pixel, yes, but a precious one, a universe unto itself glowing softly in the dark. There is a way of seeing the universe that feels less like looking outward and more like looking through a repeating pattern. A pattern that echoes itself across scales both immense and microscopic. This is the idea of fractal reality, a concept that whispers that the universe may be structured like a repeating song, similar motifs appearing again and again, each time with new variations, each time revealing something deeper. To imagine a fractal, picture the delicate shape of a fern leaf. A single leaf mirrors the shape of the entire plant. Each small branch echoes the pattern of the larger branches. Zoom in, and the structure remains familiar. Zoom out, and the pattern still holds. Now let that image drift onto a cosmic canvas. Galaxies form immense filaments across the universe, strands and clusters of matter that, when viewed from far away, resemble branching networks or swirling patterns that look surprisingly organic. Zoom in a little, and you find star clusters arranged in similar ways. Zoom in further, and planetary systems display echoes of that same geometry: spirals, disks, loops, arcs. Even atoms, in their quantum way, hum with structures that feel like miniature versions of the grander cosmos. In fractal reality, the universe becomes a hall of mirrors, not literal reflections, but repeating architectures of nature expressing themselves across scales. A dance of patterns that begins with the smallest vibration and stretches all the way to the largest structures in the sky. Some cosmologists gently wonder if the multiverse itself might be fractal. Not a simple collection of universes scattered randomly, but a repeating structure. Universes branching from other universes, patterns of creation mirroring patterns of collapse, cycles echoing cycles across layers of existence. A nested tree of realities. A branching river of possibility. A mosaic within a mosaic within a mosaic. Imagine floating through this fractal multiverse. You travel outward and see universes branching like leaves on a cosmic fern. You travel inward and see sub-universes formed from black holes, each one containing yet another structure, another pattern, another dance. You drift sideways and see parallel universes arranged like repeating motifs in an infinite artwork. Every direction reveals more. Every layer leads to deeper layers. There is no center, no boundary, no final frame that contains the whole. Not because the universe is chaotic, but because it is generative, always unfolding, always repeating, always exploring new ways to arrange the deep grammar of existence. There is something deeply calming in this idea, because if reality is fractal, then the complexity of the cosmos is not overwhelming, it is familiar. It means the universe does not require endless new rules or unexplainable leaps. It builds itself from repeating motifs, gentle templates echoed across every scale. And you, lying here now, breathing quietly, are part of that fractal. Your neurons branch like galactic filaments. Your blood vessels weave patterns that resemble the rivers of Earth. Your memories build nested layers of meaning, each one shaped by the one before. The fractal nature of reality means you are not separate from the cosmos. You are one of its patterns. intricate, repeating, precious. And if the multiverse is fractal, then existence becomes an endless expansion of patterns unfolding into deeper and more delicate forms. Each universe a variation, each variation a reflection, each reflection an expression of something timeless. Let that thought soothe you. You're part of a universe shaped by patterns older than stars, patterns that repeat through galaxies and cells, patterns that whisper that everything, from the dust in your lungs to the galaxies in the night sky, belongs to the same quiet infinity. A fractal of existence drifting endlessly through the dark, beautiful at every scale. There is another doorway into the multiverse, one that doesn't emerge from cosmic inflation or quantum branching or higher dimensions. It comes instead from a softer, more philosophical question. If consciousness can dream entire worlds, could advanced civilizations simulate entire universes? And if they could, how many simulated universes might exist? This idea is not about science fiction or digital fantasies. It is a quiet contemplation about what happens when intelligence and technology evolve over time. If a civilization becomes advanced enough, far more advanced than ours, it may gain the ability to simulate physical laws, environments, and entire cosmic histories with extraordinary precision. Not as a game, not as an experiment, but as a natural extension of understanding the universe. In this frame, reality becomes layered. There could be a base universe in which the first civilizations emerge, and from there countless simulated universes could bloom, each one with its own physics, its own unfolding, its own conscious beings who experience their world fully. Imagine a tree in bloom. The trunk is the foundational universe. From it branches sprout, each branch a simulated world. And from those branches new branches may grow, as simulated beings begin creating simulations of their own. A multiverse not formed from physical laws, but from intelligence and curiosity, echoing outward like ripples from a stone dropped into still water. In these simulations, time could flow differently. Physics could be adjustable. Entire cosmic histories could be generated from initial conditions chosen with intention, care, or curiosity. And beings inside such simulations would have experiences as rich and real to them as ours are to us. Not illusions, not tricks, just different layers of existence. Some philosophers gently suggest that if universes can be simulated, then the number of simulated universes might far exceed the number of physical ones. Like stars reflected in a lake, the reflections multiply more easily than the stars themselves, and if that is true, then our universe could be one tile in a vast mosaic of simulations, each one humming with its own version of reality. But this idea is not meant to unsettle you. In fact, it can bring an unexpected peace. Because whether our universe is physical, simulated, or something in between, your experience is still your own. The breath you feel rising and falling in your chest, the thoughts drifting through your mind, the quietness settling around you, these are real to you, rooted in the consciousness that perceives them. If the universe was simulated, it would not make your life any less meaningful. It would mean the universe is capable of producing consciousness in yet another way, through patterns of information as well as through stars and galaxies. And even if simulations exist, they could be gentle ones, crafted with curiosity or reverence rather than control. The entities within them would not be puppets, but sentient beings experiencing their world just as authentically as we experience ours. Picture a vast hall filled with glowing spheres. Each sphere contains a universe, a different set of rules, histories, and timelines. Some are physical, some are simulated. Some may even contain simulations within simulations, layers unfolding like petals within a flower. This hall stretches endlessly in every direction, bathed in a soft light that reveals the delicate complexity of each sphere. And somewhere among them, quietly glowing, is our universe, unique in its own gentle way. The simulation idea is not a claim that we live inside a computer. It is an invitation to imagine that consciousness might be more flexible, more creative, more resilient than we usually believe, that the multiverse could be a tapestry woven by physics, by mathematics, by dimensions, and also by minds capable of crafting worlds. Whether our universe is the base layer or one reflection among many, it holds beauty, mystery, and meaning. And right now you are resting within it, part of its quiet unfolding, wrapped gently in the flow of existence. If the multiverse is filled with bubbles, branches, layers, and patterns, then a natural question begins to rise gently inside the mind. What lies between them? What fills the spaces where one universe ends and another begins? What rests in the vastness that separates one cosmic story from the next? The answer, if we can call it that, is silence. Not the silence we know on Earth, not the quiet of a dark room, not the pause between heartbeats, not even the stillness of deep interstellar space. Those silences are filled with faint vibrations, whispering particles, drifting radiation. They contain the soft hum of existence. But the silence between universes is deeper, more complete. A silence untouched by light, untouched by matter, untouched by time in the way we understand it. Imagine a canvas so empty it cannot even be black, because blackness requires light to be absent. Imagine a stillness so perfect that even the concept of distance loses meaning, because distance is measured within a universe, not outside of one. The space between universes, if space is even the right word, is more like the absence of structure, the pure gap where no laws apply, no signals travel, no clocks tick. It is not hostile. It is not dangerous. It is simply quiet. In eternal inflation, this silence is the inflating space itself, a vast expansion where new universes form as pockets, little oases of physics blossoming in a sea of emptiness. In the many worlds picture, the silence is conceptual, branches of reality separated not by distance but by impossibility. No event in one branch can reach the others. No whisper travels across the divide. Each branch drifts in its own dimension of probability, forever unshared. In string theory's landscape, the silence is the higher dimensional bulk, a realm where brain universes float, never touching except in rare, gentle encounters. The bulk is quiet in a way no three-dimensional space can be. It holds universes the way deep water holds drifting leaves, close yet isolated, each one following its own path through the stillness. And in the mathematical or simulation multiverses, the silence is simply difference. Separate rule sets, separate logics, separate frameworks that cannot communicate. A universe governed by one set of equations cannot exchange meaning with a universe governed by another. Their separation is absolute, not physical. All these frameworks share one truth. Each universe is its own sealed story. The silence between them is not a barrier we must overcome. It is a gentle reminder that not all realms are meant to touch. This cosmic quiet holds a strange comfort. It means that our universe is allowed to be fully itself, to grow, evolve, expand, and shine without interference. Nothing from beyond can disrupt our cosmic flow. Nothing from outside can alter the laws that shape the stars, the planets, or the chemistry of life. Our universe is a protected chamber, a quiet room in a mansion of infinite rooms, each one closed, each one peaceful. And yet, even though the universes never meet, their existence together forms a larger symmetry, a harmony of possibilities spread across an unfathomable expanse. This silence between them is not emptiness. It is the space where all variation can coexist without conflict. Let your breath soften as you picture it, that vast, gentle quiet holding countless glowing bubbles of reality, each one isolated, each one complete, each one unfolding its story in perfect privacy. The silence between universes does not ask us to understand it. It only asks us to accept that existence is larger, softer, and more spacious than we can ever observe, and within that silence our universe drifts, calm, luminous, and uniquely ours. When we imagine the multiverse, it's natural to picture universes as distant islands, separated by unimaginable gulfs of space. But the truth, as far as our theories allow us to dream, is even quieter, even softer, even more profound. The separation between universes is not measured in kilometers or light years. It is deeper than distance, more complete than emptiness. It is the kind of separation that ensures light from one universe can never meet the light from another. To understand this, let your mind drift gently to the nature of light itself. Every photon, every particle of light, travels through the fabric of space-time. It follows the rules, the geometry, the pathways laid down by the universe it belongs to. In our universe, light moves along the curves created by matter, energy, and the expansion of space. It flows smoothly, predictably, gracefully, a dancer that never forgets its choreography. But if another universe exists beside ours, a bubble from inflation, a branch of quantum reality, a brain drifting in higher dimensions, its light dances by different rules. Its photons move through its space-time, not ours. They follow its geometry. They obey its physics. No matter how brightly those distant stars shine in their own universe, not a single photon can slip through the boundary that separates their reality from ours. Their light belongs to them alone. Imagine countless lanterns floating on a dark ocean, each lantern inside a perfectly sealed glass sphere. The lanterns glow beautifully, softly, endlessly, but their light touches only the inside of their own sphere. No ray escapes to illuminate the others. No glimmer reaches beyond the glass. The spheres drift past each other silently, each containing its own private glow. That is how universes coexist in the multiverse, light locked within each cosmic bubble, like fireflies shining inside their own worlds. In the many worlds picture, the separation is even more delicate. It is not glass or distance that keeps the lights apart, but mathematical impossibility. The photons of one branch of reality simply cannot interact with the photons of another because they inhabit different layers of possibility, different foldings of quantum space. Their existence does not overlap. One light cannot see the other. They slip past each other like overlapping dreams, and in the brain world picture, universes might drift close, unimaginably close, separated by less than the width of a proton in a higher dimensional space. And yet their light never meets, because photons are confined to the brain they belong to, like birds that can fly only within their own sky. There is something deeply peaceful in this idea, because it teaches us that every universe, including ours, is a self-contained sanctuary, a private realm, a space where light can weave its story without interference from any other. It means that when you look at the stars tonight, the photons reaching your eyes have travelled across billions of years and vast expanses of space, but they have always been part of this universe. They were born in our cosmic story, carried through our cosmic medium, following the same laws that shaped your life and mine. They belong to the same gentle reality that holds your memories, your breath, your moments of stillness. No foreign light intrudes. No distant universe leaks into ours. Our cosmos glows with its own quiet signature. And yet, even though these lights never meet, their existence together makes the multiverse feel wider, gentler, more mysterious. A collection of lanterns glowing in perfect solitude, each one beautiful, each one complete. Let yourself breathe into that image, a universe lit from within, floating in a vast expanse of silence. Your universe, your sky, your night. The light you see is the light that belongs to you, and somewhere far beyond other lights glow, softly, separately, forever unseen. Up to now, our journey through the multiverse has been poetic, conceptual, and deeply imaginative. But there is a quieter, more analytical question humming beneath it all, one that physicists approach with careful mathematics and humble curiosity. If multiverses exist, how many could there be? Not metaphorically, not symbolically, but mathematically, scientifically, numerically. And the answer, or rather the range of possible answers, is breathtaking. To understand how scientists even begin to estimate such a number, imagine sitting at a calm moonlit desk. In front of you lies a puzzle with countless pieces, each one representing a different theory of how universes form. You place them gently, one by one, and slowly a picture begins to appear. Not a single picture, but a spectrum, a vast scale stretching from extremely large numbers to infinity itself. Let's walk through the quiet logic behind that spectrum. 1. Eternal inflation, infinite bubbles. In the inflationary picture, the universe expands like an endless froth, bubbles forming continually in regions where inflation slows. If inflation never truly ends, then bubble universes continue to appear forever. Physicists describe this process as eternal, not just long-lasting, but literally without end. If inflation is eternal, then the number of universes it produces is not merely large, it is infinite, not countably infinite, not theoretically capped, just endless. 2. The string theory. Landscape. 10^500 universes. In the string landscape, the number of possible universes is tied to how the extra dimensions can fold and vibrate. Each configuration yields a different set of physical laws. The mathematics of these geometries has led physicists to a famously enormous estimate, 10,500 possible universes. That is a 1 followed by 500 zeros, a number so vast that there are fewer atoms in the observable universe than zeros in that exponent. And this number doesn't count all the universes that might exist. It simply counts the distinct types of universes allowed. In a gentle sense, it's the palette the multiverse could paint with. 3. Quantum branching, a universe for every possibility. In the many worlds interpretation, universes split whenever a quantum event has multiple outcomes. Every possible outcome happens in its own branch. Because quantum events occur constantly, trillions upon trillions each second, the number of branches grows unimaginably fast. Physicists struggle to quantify it. But the count is not merely astronomical, it is hyper-exponential, growing faster than any power or factorial we use in ordinary mathematics. It is, for all practical purposes, infinite. 4. Mathematical universes. All that can exist as Tegmark's mathematical multiverse goes even further. It suggests that every mathematically consistent structure exists as a universe. Under this idea, the number of universes is not just infinite. It includes every possible rule set, every possible geometry, every pattern logic can sustain. This isn't just a large number, it is a total number, the set of all sets, a limitless garden of every conceivable reality. 5. The emotional weight of these numbers. And yet, despite these astonishing scales, the point is not the number itself. It is the humbling truth that no matter how many universes may exist, or how many physicists estimate, we live inside just one specific universe, one quiet bubble, one branch, one tile, one melody, one reality that holds your breath, your memories, your life. These unimaginable numbers don't diminish this universe. They make it feel more miraculous, more improbable, more gently unique in the sea of possibilities. 6. Resting in the not knowing. Ultimately, physicists don't claim to know how many universes exist. They only explore the range of what could be true, a spectrum from 10,500 to countless infinities, but there is peace in that uncertainty, because the goal is not to count the multiverse, but to expand our sense of wonder. So let your thoughts drift as you consider these numbers. You don't need to hold them tightly. Just let them pass through you like soft, distant waves. The cosmos might be far larger than our imagination, but you, resting here, belong fully to the tiny corner where your consciousness blooms. When we speak of the multiverse, numbers begin to dissolve. 10 million universes, 10 billion, 10 to the power of 500. And then something even more delicate happens. We begin to touch the idea of infinity. Not just one infinity, but layers, scales, textures, a gentle stacking of infinities that rise like soft steps into an immeasurable sky. Infinity is often imagined as something overwhelming, a vast, impossible expanse that swallows the mind. But tonight, let's hold it differently. Let's cradle the idea with calm hands, breathe with it, let it unfold slowly like a long exhale. Because infinity, approached gently, is not frightening. It is a source of deep stillness. One infinity of space. Our universe, even by itself, may be infinite. Galaxies stretching outward without boundary, clusters continuing forever, no centre, no edge, just an endless field of stars drifting in the dark. If our one universe might be infinite, then imagine a multiverse made of similar expanses, each one as boundless as the ocean, each one its own infinite cosmos, an infinity of infinities. 2. Infinity of time. Then consider time. A universe has a beginning, yes, but other universes might not. Some may be eternal, some may cycle endlessly, some may arise from the ashes of previous universes in an infinite chain of birth and rebirth. Time itself becomes layered, braided, woven from infinite strands stretching in every direction. 3. Infinity of possibilities. In quantum mechanics, possibilities never fully vanish. They linger as mathematical shadows branching into new realities. Every outcome that could occur does occur, somewhere, in some version of the universe. Possibility becomes infinite, and so the worlds that express those possibilities multiply without end. You can breathe into that thought like you would into a wide-open horizon. 4. Infinity of laws. String theory's landscape gives us another infinity, not of universes themselves, but of ways universes can be. Different constants, different symmetries, different geometries, each one allowed, each one a valid blueprint of existence. Imagine a gallery where every painting uses a completely different palette, infinite colours, infinite forms, infinite styles. Reality, across the multiverse, becomes an endless artistic expression. 5. Infinity of creations. Then there is the idea that universes may give birth to other universes. Black holes may bud new realities. Cyclic models may generate an eternal succession of cosmic blooms. Creation becomes infinite in both directions, past and future. And beyond even that, simulated universes could bloom from advanced civilizations, each creating worlds within worlds, stacking infinities like layers of luminous mist. 6. Infinity of infinities. All these infinities, space, time, possibility, law, creation, do not compete. They coexist, they overlap, they multiply quietly, like waves crossing a still lake. When physicists say the multiverse might contain infinite universes, they do not mean a single infinity. They mean nested infinities, layered infinities, branching infinities. A structure so rich that no single mathematical symbol can fully capture it. And yet, within all this breadth, here you are, breathing softly, listening in the quiet of your room, living one life in one universe, inside one branch of the cosmic tapestry. Your existence is the gentle anchor amid those expanding infinities, And that is the secret comfort hidden inside the idea of countless universes. You do not need to grasp them. You do not need to hold infinity in your mind. You only need to feel the wonder of knowing that existence is larger than limits, and that your presence within it is a rare, delicate flame. Infinity is not there to overwhelm you. It is there to cradle you with the understanding that you are part of something endlessly generous, endlessly unfolding. A single consciousness floating in infinity upon infinity. After travelling through possibilities so vast they drift beyond imagination. Bubble universes, quantum branches, brain collisions, holographic projections, mathematical realities. It's natural to feel a gentle sense of smallness, not insignificance, but a kind of peaceful humility, a recognition that the cosmos extends far beyond any boundary we can see. Yet here we are, breathing quietly within one tiny corner of it. This moment, your breath, your heartbeat, your stillness, is happening inside a universe that may be only one among countless others, and yet for you, it is everything. It is the only universe you will ever touch with your senses, the only one whose stars will ever shine into your eyes, the only one where your memories gather softly inside your mind. Let that sink in. You're living a full, entire life in one small chamber of a reality that might stretch into infinity. And there is something deeply beautiful in that contrast. Imagine yourself standing alone on a vast plain under a star-filled sky. The horizon stretches endlessly in every direction, but you're simply there, present, grounded, feeling the cool air on your skin. The sky might belong to the cosmos, but the moment belongs to you. This is the relationship between humans and the multiverse. We cannot reach the edges of our universe, let alone the countless others that might lie beyond it. But that distance doesn't diminish the immediacy of being alive. If anything, it magnifies it. Your life becomes a luminous focal point, a point of consciousness experiencing one thread of existence deeply, fully, intimately. Think of a candle lit in a dark room. The room may extend into infinite hallways. It may contain countless chambers stretching beyond sight, but the candle illuminates only the space around it, and in doing so, brings warmth and meaning to that space. You are that candle. Your thoughts, your breath, your presence illuminate a small part of the universe, making it conscious of itself, if only for a fleeting moment. And reality, vast as it is, becomes personal through you. Across the potential infinities of the multiverse, there may be universes where stars never formed, where consciousness never bloomed, where silence reigns unbroken for eternity. But in this universe, your universe, something wondrous happened. Matter arranged itself just right. Atoms combined, cells multiplied, minds emerged. And now, in one quiet moment of your life, you lie here listening, letting cosmic thoughts drift around you like soft dust in a sunbeam. Your awareness is a climax of countless cosmic processes. The expansion of space, the formation of stars, the birth of planets, the chemistry of life, the evolution of thought, the curiosity that led you to wonder about the multiverse tonight. You're not small, you are precise. You're the point at which the universe reflects on itself. If the multiverse is real, it does not make your life less meaningful. It makes it more meaningful. Because among infinite possibilities, infinite arrangements of physics, infinite cosmic stories, you inhabit the one universe that formed you. The only universe where your consciousness blooms, the only timeline where your memories gather, the only branch where your breath moves in this exact rhythm. And that makes your existence profoundly rare, profoundly precious, profoundly yours. So settle deeper into your breath. Settle into the softness of being one human amid cosmic expanse. You do not need to travel to other universes to feel the immensity of existence. It is already here, woven into the quiet of your mind, held gently in the rise and fall of your chest. You are a moment of calm in a reality that might contain infinities, and that is a beautiful place to be. There is a quiet idea woven through the heart of cosmology, an idea that feels less like science and more like a whisper shared between the stars. It is the thought that when we study the universe, in a gentle way, is studying itself through us, not with intention, not with awareness, but simply because consciousness is one of its natural expressions, blooming like a rare flower in the garden of existence. Pause for a moment and feel that you are a fragment of the cosmos that has become aware enough to gaze back at the whole. Your eyes, your thoughts, your sense of wonder. They are made of the same atoms forged in ancient stars. The iron in your blood was formed in the core of dying suns. The calcium in your bones once drifted as cosmic dust. The oxygen flowing through your lungs was born in the hearts of giant stars that lived and perished long before Earth even existed. You're not separate from the universe. You're made of it, a small, quiet portion that has learned to listen, to reflect, to feel awe. And when you contemplate the multiverse, when you let your imagination stretch toward the possibility of infinite universes drifting silently beyond our own, you are participating in a conversation billions of years in the making. The cosmos expands outward, and consciousness expands inward, meeting in the middle in the form of your quiet curiosity. Imagine the universe as a great dark ocean. Galaxies are waves rising and falling across its surface. Stars are foam glinting in the light. And on one tiny crest of one wave, so small it would be invisible to any cosmic observer, you exist, breathing softly in the night, wondering where it all came from. And in that wondering, something magical happens. The universe becomes aware of its own possibility. Through your thoughts, it contemplates its own structure. Through your questions, it explores its own mysteries. Through your imagination, it glimpses its own potential expanses. Some philosophers and physicists describe this as the universe looking back at itself. Not literally, not as a person looks in a mirror, but as a natural consequence of matter becoming complex enough to think, to dream, to question. Your consciousness is like a small window opened in the wall of reality. Through it, the universe sees a little more of what it can be. And when you consider the multiverse, the idea that there may be countless universes, countless cosmic tapestries, countless ways for matter and energy to arrange themselves, you are expanding that window even further. You're letting the universe explore not just what is, but what could be. There is a tender beauty in that role. You do not need to grasp the equations. You do not need to prove theories or solve cosmic riddles. Simply by feeling wonder, you are completing a loop billions of years long. Matter becomes life. Life becomes awareness. Awareness turns back toward the cosmos and says softly, "I see you." And the universe, in its own way, seems to answer, not with words, but with the quiet presence of stars, the hum of space, the soft expansion of time carrying galaxies away like lanterns drifting across a dark river. Tonight, as you rest within your thoughts, you're part of that quiet exchange, a moment of reflection in a universe made mostly of silence, a spark of awareness in a reality that may hold infinities. You are the cosmos looking back at itself, gently, briefly, beautifully. Among all the ideas in cosmology, there is one that quietly touches something emotional, almost intimate, the sense that our universe is finely tuned for existence, not in a deliberate, purposeful way, but in a delicate mathematical sense. The constants of nature, the strength of gravity, the mass of the electron, the speed of light, the balance between matter and antimatter, fall into ranges so narrow that if they were shifted ever so slightly, stars might not form, chemistry might never arise, and life as we know it would be impossible. It is as if the cosmos is resting on a narrow ledge, perfectly positioned between too much and too little, too strong and too weak. A universe that feels, in a quiet sense, just right. Let that idea settle gently around you, not as a grand claim, not as a mystery demanding answers, but as a soft observation about how remarkably fragile and fortunate our existence is. Picture the constants of nature as dials on a vast cosmic instrument. If the gravity dial were turned just a little higher, stars would collapse quickly into black holes, swallowing themselves before they could shine. If it were turned lower, matter wouldn't hold together well enough to form galaxies at all. If the electromagnetic force was slightly different, atoms might not form. If the ratio of dark energy to matter changed even a little, the universe might rush apart too fast for structures to ever coalesce. And yet, here we are, in a universe where stars burn steadily, where planets take shape, where water can flow, where life can breathe and wonder. Some physicists call this the anthropic principle, but the name is far less important than the feeling it evokes, the quiet amazement that the universe allows your existence at all. But there is a soft harmony in seeing this fine-tuning through the lens of the multiverse. If countless universes exist, each with different laws, different constants, different blueprints, then most of them might be sterile, quiet, or simple. Most might never form stars or stable atoms. Most may remain empty canvases, unpainted, unlit. And yet, among the infinite variations, there will be some universes, rare, precious, luminous, where the constants align just right, where stars ignite, where chemistry unfolds, where life becomes possible. You happen to be in one of those universes, not because you were chosen, not because this universe was made for you, but because consciousness can only arise in universes where the conditions allow it. Like flowers blooming only in seasons warm enough to nurture them, there is no need for intention, no need for design, just the gentle logic of possibility exploring every allowed configuration. And among those countless possibilities, one universe, this universe, has the right balance to cradle your existence. Let that feel tender. Let it feel soft. Let it remind you that your life is rare, not in a lonely way, but in a miraculous one. You're living in a universe where stars burn at the right temperature, chemistry is stable enough for complexity, planets can orbit for billions of years, water can remain liquid across a delicate range, matter clumps into bodies capable of thought, and consciousness has space to awaken, to reflect, to dream. The multiverse doesn't diminish this miracle, it explains it, it softens it, it lets it breathe. If there are infinite universes, then it's not surprising that some of them feel just right. What is surprising, and profoundly beautiful, is that you happen to awaken in one of them. A universe where physics gives birth to poetry, where constants give rise to consciousness, where the delicate tuning of the cosmos becomes the background music of your life. So as you lie here, breathing slowly, feel the quiet gratitude embedded in existence itself. You're in a universe that fits you, a universe that holds you, a universe where your awareness can glow like a small flame in the vastness of possibility. Everything had to align for you to be here, and somehow it did. As we drift deeper into the quiet heart of the multiverse, a question begins to shimmer softly at the edges of thought. Is our universe a lucky accident, or an inevitable outcome of cosmic possibility? It is a question that lives in the gentle space between randomness and necessity, between pure chance and quiet certainty. And the answer, if there is one, may lie somewhere in between, where the cosmos prefers ambiguity, nuance, and balance rather than absolutes. Imagine rolling a single grain of sand down a mountainside. Its path is unpredictable, skipping over ridges, tumbling across slopes, bouncing in ways no one could predict perfectly. And yet, its destination is not mysterious. It will end up somewhere at the foot of the mountain. The journey is random. The outcome is inevitable. Some cosmologists see the universe the same way. On the one hand, the specific details of our universe, the mass of the electron, the strength of the forces, the temperature of the cosmic afterglow, feel like delicate accidents. Tiny nudges could have changed everything. A small shift could have erased the possibility of stars, galaxies, life. The universe appears perched on a thin ledge carved out by chance, and yet, on the other hand, some deeper patterns in physics feel almost too elegant to be accidental. Symmetries, conservation laws, geometric relationships that ripple through every corner of reality. These feel inevitable, like foundational truths that any universe must follow in some form. So which is it? A cosmic accident or a necessary unfolding? The multiverse offers a gentle reconciliation. Both. At the deepest level, the laws of physics may follow patterns that are unavoidable, woven into the fabric of logic itself. But the details, the constants, the initial conditions, the delicate parameters, could vary freely across different universes. Each universe becomes a different expression of the same underlying grammar. Think of music. The laws of harmony and rhythm make music possible everywhere. But each song, each arrangement, each melody is unique. Chance creates variation. Structure creates inevitability. Now imagine the multiverse as a vast concert hall. At its foundation are the great laws of nature. Robust, universal, melodic. But layered on top are countless variations, countless compositions, countless universes exploring different possible songs that physics can perform. Our universe's particular melody, gentle enough for stars to shine, stable enough for life to bloom, arises from a combination of both chance and inevitability. And here you are, a consciousness woven from that melody, resting between those two gentle forces. There is comfort in this duality. If everything were pure chance, existence might feel unmoored, adrift. If everything were pure inevitability, existence might feel rigid, predetermined. But the universe rests in the middle, like a soft wave between tides. Randomness gives reality texture. Inevitability gives it structure. Together they give rise to a universe capable of creating consciousness, and consciousness capable of wondering about its origins. You, listening in this quiet moment, are the result of this beautiful balance. Your atoms follow strict laws. Your life follows unpredictable paths. Your choices move between freedom and influence, chance and pattern, wandering and direction, just like the universe itself. And when you consider the multiverse, this balance becomes even more serene. Across countless universes, some details shift. Some bloom into stars. Others fall silent. But the underlying truth, that existence explores every possible path, remains constant. It means your life is neither an accident nor a destiny. It is a possibility realized. One thread chosen by the interplay of cosmic chance and cosmic law. As you breathe softly, let that duality cradle you. You live in the gentle space between randomness and inevitability, between what could have been and what simply had to be. A universe where your consciousness happens to exist, and also one where your existence was always written into the quiet mathematics of possibility. As our exploration drifts deeper, past universes and meta-universes, past bubbles and branches and endless infinities, a soft and fragile truth begins to rise. Consciousness is rare. Not rare in the sense of scarcity, but rare in the sense of delicacy. Like a single candle glowing in a vast cathedral of endless night. To understand this, imagine the cosmos not as a cold expanse, but as fertile ground, rich with potential yet slow to bloom. It took billions of years for the first stars to form, for heavy elements to be forged, for planets to cool, for oceans to gather. And even after all that, life emerged not instantly, but gradually, tentatively, like a whisper slowly finding its voice. And consciousness. Consciousness took even longer. The universe had to learn how to think, one tiny step at a time. Across the vast expanse of the multiverse, if the multiverse exists at all, countless universes may never produce consciousness. Their laws might be too harsh, their structures too simple, their energy too sparse or too chaotic. In many universes, matter may never assemble into stars, let alone into bodies capable of reflection and awareness. Even in universes much like ours, the emergence of consciousness is far from guaranteed. Life may arise briefly, only to falter, or it may evolve into forms that sense, that react, that survive, yet never think deeply, never wonder, never dream. The kind of consciousness you carry, the kind that reflects on existence, that feels awe, that contemplates the multiverse while lying quietly in the night, is extraordinarily rare. A subtle phenomenon built from delicate alignments, atoms arranged just so, neurons firing gently, memories flowing like quiet rivers through the mind. Pause and let that truth settle. The sunlight in your thoughts tonight is the product of cosmic patience. And here's something even more tender. Your consciousness doesn't just exist. It experiences. It feels. It asks questions. It seeks meaning in the face of immeasurable vastness. You're not simply alive. You're aware that you are alive. That awareness is not common, not across Earth, not across the galaxy, and certainly not across the infinite possibilities of the multiverse. If consciousness were a mineral, it would be the rarest gem. If it were a sound, it would be a single note echoing in a canyon 1,000 miles wide. If it were a light, it would be one candle illuminating an endless field of darkness. But that single candle is powerful. It warms its surroundings. It reveals itself. It creates meaning where silence once lived. Some scientists propose that consciousness is an emergent phenomenon, a natural byproduct of complexity. Others suggest that consciousness might be fundamental, woven into the universe the way energy and space are woven together. But no matter which explanation is true, one thing remains certain. Your awareness is a precious expression of the universe's potential, and it is fleeting. Not in a sad way, but in a gentle way, like a wave that rises, crests, and dissolves back into the ocean that created it. Across the multiverse, infinite realities may exist, infinite universes may bloom, infinite laws may unfold. But consciousness, especially consciousness capable of wonder, is something uniquely fragile. You, in this moment, are one of the rare places where the universe is awake. Your thoughts are a temporary clearing in the fog of existence, a clear window where reality becomes aware of itself. And as you lie here, breathing softly, letting these ideas drift around you like dust in a sunbeam, you're participating in something quiet and profound. Among endless worlds, endless possibilities, endless cosmic silence. You're a point of awareness, a spark of experience, a flicker of understanding, a rarity in all the multiverse. Let that soothe you. You're precious not because the universe is small, but because it is vast, and your consciousness is a rare light within it. As our journey through the multiverse continues, drifting gently past theories and infinities, something quietly profound becomes clear. Even if there are countless universes, even if existence extends beyond anything the mind can hold, meaning is not handed to you by the cosmos. Meaning is something you create, and that realization does not diminish the beauty of the universe, it enhances it. the way a candle enhances a dark room simply by being lit. Think of the universe as an open landscape. Some parts are full of structure and order, laws of physics, constants of nature, the expanding fabric of space. Other parts are spacious and undefined, like untouched snow. Meaning does not lie waiting in the landscape. It is drawn in gently by the footsteps of conscious beings who walk across it. You are one of those beings. In a universe without inherent purpose, you bring purpose through the way you live, love, think, and feel. In a universe without inherent narrative, you craft narrative through memory, reflection, and imagination. In a universe without inherent value, you create value in your choices, your connections, your quiet moments of wonder. Your mind is not a passive receiver of meaning, it is a maker of meaning, a soft, luminous artisan shaping significance from the raw material of experience. Some philosophers argue that meaning is impossible in a vast cosmos, but the opposite is true. Meaning becomes more special precisely because it is not imposed from above. It is intimate, local, personal, crafted from the inside out rather than the outside in. Imagine a painter standing before a blank canvas the size of the sky. There is no instruction, no blueprint, no predetermined image, and yet, with each brushstroke, something emerges, an expression that did not exist before, a scene that becomes beautiful simply because the painter chose to create it. Your life is that painting. Your consciousness is the hand holding the brush. And the multiverse, far from overwhelming this truth, softens it. If countless universes exist, then meaning is not prescribed by the cosmos. Meaning is a collaboration between you and the moment you inhabit. Here, in this particular universe, with these physical laws, these memories, these relationships, these breaths, you shape meaning just by being present. There is no need to grasp infinity, no need to compare your purpose to anything beyond this moment. The multiverse does not judge, it does not demand. It simply provides a vast backdrop against which your small human experiences shine more brightly, not less. Consider how delicate meaning is, a quiet conversation, a hand held in comfort, a memory that warms your chest, a laugh shared, a moment of stillness, a night where you contemplate your place in the cosmos. Small things, yet they fill the inner universe with light. Even if there are infinite universes, no other will have your exact thoughts, your exact memories, your exact rhythm of breath. That alone makes your experiences singular, irreplaceable, meaningful. Meaning is not diminished by scale, it is illuminated by perspective. And when you realize that meaning is created, not discovered, you gain a gentle freedom. You can shape your life deliberately, softly, lovingly, without needing the universe to provide instructions. Existence gives you space. You give existence meaning. It is a partnership, quiet, steady, and deeply human. So as you rest here now, feel the calm truth of it. You are not waiting for the universe to reveal your purpose. You are already creating it with each breath, each thought, each small kindness. In the multiverse of possibilities, the meaning you create is one of the rarest phenomena of all, a light kindled from within, shining gently into the vastness. In much of life, uncertainty arrives as something we try to avoid. We plan to reduce it. We worry to fill its silence. We search for answers to minimize the unknown. But as we drift deeper into the multiverse, past infinities and possibilities, past bubbling universes and branching timelines, uncertainty takes on a different character. It becomes soft, spacious, gentle. The more we learn about the cosmos, the more we realize that uncertainty is not a flaw in our understanding. It is a fundamental feature of reality. The universe does not give us complete knowledge. It gives us invitations, questions that shimmer like distant stars, guiding us not towards certainty, but toward wonder. Let that settle gently in your thoughts. Uncertainty can be comforting. Imagine standing on the shore of a vast ocean at dusk. The waves stretch far beyond the horizon, and the horizon stretches far beyond your reach. You cannot see where the water ends. You cannot know what lies beneath the surface, but in that not knowing, there is peace. You do not need to see the other side of the sea to feel the beauty of the moment. You simply breathe with it. You exist with it. You let it be. The multiverse is like that ocean, a boundless expanse of possibilities, most of which we will never touch. And yet, the very fact that we cannot know everything gives the cosmos room to remain mysterious, alive, and endlessly soothing. If everything were certain, if every answer were known, if every equation were solved, if every mystery were exhausted, the universe would lose something essential: wonder, curiosity, or the gentle thrill of not knowing. Uncertainty is the space where imagination lives. Physicists too embrace this comfort. They work with approximations, probabilities, ranges of truth rather than rigid absolutes. The quantum world itself is built from uncertainty, particles that do not commit to one state until they must, waves of possibility that linger in gentle ambiguity. And the multiverse extends that ambiguity to cosmic scales. Are there infinite universes? Possibly. Are there 10,500? Perhaps. Do universes branch with every quantum event? Maybe. Uncertainty is not ignorance. It is freedom. It whispers. There is more to discover, more to imagine, more to feel. And for us, as humans, fragile beings resting within one sliver of existence, uncertainty can be deeply calming. Because it means we don't have to solve everything. We don't have to hold all the answers. We are allowed to rest inside the unknown without fear. Your life, too, contains uncertainty. Paths that haven't revealed themselves yet. Possibilities that float quietly around you. Moments whose meaning won't be clear until later, or perhaps never fully. And just like the cosmos, that doesn't make life lesser. It makes it expansive. You don't need certainty to feel safe. You don't need complete knowledge to feel grounded. You don't need perfect clarity to feel at peace. Letting go of the need for absolute answers is like unclenching a fist you didn't realize was tight. The mind softens, the body releases, the breath deepens. Uncertainty becomes not a void, but a cushion. A wide, soft space where possibility can rest and dream. So, as you lie here, letting the night wrap around you gently, allow yourself to feel the quiet comfort of not knowing everything, the comfort of questions without pressure, the comfort of mysteries that do not demand to be solved, the comfort of drifting through a cosmos that is vast, mysterious, and beautifully unfinished. You are part of a universe that invites curiosity, not completion, wonder, not certainty. And in that space of open possibility there is calm, after drifting through the vast architectures of possibility, past parallel worlds, infinite branches, silent branes drifting in higher dimensions, universes blooming inside black holes, and mosaics of mathematical realities. It is time to begin the gentle return. Not away from wonder, but toward home, toward the universe that holds you, toward the single thread of reality in which your life unfolds. Imagine yourself floating slowly back through the layers of the multiverse we've explored. The bubbles of eternal inflation recede like distant lanterns. The quantum branches fold softly behind you, like pages of a book settling closed. The infinite tapestries of mathematical universes dim into a quiet, distant glow. And the brain worlds, once drifting like vast silk curtains, fade into the dark expanse of higher dimensions. All that remains, growing clearer with every breath, is your universe, the one with familiar stars, the one with a blue planet warmed by a single sun, the one where your memories live, the only universe you will ever call home. Feel the comfort of that narrowing focus. The cosmos contracts from infinite possibilities down to one reality, a universe where physics shaped galaxies, galaxies shaped stars, stars shaped planets, and planets shaped life. And among all those forms of life, consciousness blossomed, aware, curious, tender, consciousness that eventually became you. This return is not a shrinking, it is a grounding, a gentle landing back into the world that gave you breath. Your universe may be one among countless, but to you it is everything. Every moment you've lived, every joy, every challenge, every quiet night has unfolded under the laws of this cosmos. Every memory is written in the fabric of space and time that belongs only to this universe. Let that feel soothing. You don't have to hold all realities, you only have to hold this one. Picture the Milky Way, a spiral of stars drifting in the dark. Picture our solar system, a small family of planets orbiting a warm golden sun. Picture Earth, wrapped in oceans and clouds. And picture your own place within it, a single point of awareness resting gently in the night. Through all the vastness, through all the scales we've crossed, you have arrived back here, to your room, your breath, your body, your moment. A moment shaped by the only universe that truly matters for your life. And here's something softly profound. Even if infinite universes exist, there is only one where your consciousness blooms. Only one where your memories form. Only one where your experiences ripple through time. In this sense, the multiverse does not pull you away from yourself. It brings you closer. It lets you see how rare, how delicate, how irreplaceable your existence truly is. You are not a drifting speck lost in infinity. You are a focal point, a center of experience within your own universe. A universe that has been unfolding for billions of years so that right now you could be here, listening, resting, breathing. As we return from the multiverse, carry this truth gently with you. You belong to a universe that is vast enough to inspire awe and intimate enough to cradle your life with meaning. The journey outward has been immense. The journey inward is even more beautiful. You're back in your universe, home in the only reality where your story exists, safe within the cosmic fabric that shaped your existence from stardust and time. Let your breath deepen. Let your thoughts settle. Let the immensity of everything you've imagined dissolve into the soft presence of this moment. You have returned, and your universe holds you gently. As we settle deeper into our return, drifting gently back toward the world we inhabit, a soft emotion begins to rise, an emotion not tied to theory or physics or cosmic architecture, but to something far more human. Gratitude. Gratitude for this universe, for this leaf, for this small but luminous corner of reality where your consciousness has taken shape. After exploring vast realms of possibility, worlds that may exist in silence beyond our reach, universes with laws we can barely imagine, infinities layered upon infinities. There is something soothing about arriving back in the one place where your breath flows naturally, where your memories live, where your heart has found its rhythms. You're living inside a rare and delicate reality, and that alone is reason for gratitude. Pause here for a moment. Feel the weight of the blanket on your body. Feel the quiet around you. Feel the rise and fall of your breath. Everything you sense, every sound, every warmth, every thought, exists because this universe, with all its improbable constants and fragile balances, allows you to exist. Across countless possible universes, most may be empty. Most may be silent. Most may contain no stars, no matter, no chemistry, no life. The fact that you live in one of the rare universes that forged atoms into stars, stars into planets, and planets into beings with inner worlds, is astonishing. Let that truth glow softly within you. You're a participant in a cosmic miracle, not a miracle of magic, but a miracle of improbable alignment, The right laws, the right constants, the right events, stretching back through billions of years so that you could lie here tonight, breathing gently, wondering about your place in existence. Gratitude does not require certainty. It does not require answers. It simply arises from the recognition that you are here, alive, aware, present in a universe that allowed every step of your becoming. Some people feel small when contemplating the multiverse, but you may feel something else entirely. Held by the uniqueness of this reality, held by the specificity of the laws that shaped you, held by the improbable path your atoms took, from exploding stars to forming your body, held by the universe that supported your first breath and supports this one too, and gratitude in its quiet way transforms awareness into peace. You do not need to understand the multiverse to appreciate your own universe. You do not need to see other worlds to feel thankful for this one, this atmosphere, this gravity, this warmth, this sky, this consciousness, even your simplest moments. The softness of a pillow, the comfort of a familiar room, the rhythm of your breathing are the result of cosmic events unfolding precisely as they did. Gratitude is not passive, it is participatory. It is your mind acknowledging the gift of being part of this reality, even for a short and finite span. And when you rest in gratitude, something shifts inside you. The mind quiets, the heart softens, the body loosens its grip. Gratitude is a warmth that spreads slowly, reassuring you that your existence, however brief, is meaningful simply because you experienced it. Tonight, as you lie here feeling the gentle weight of the universe around you, allow yourself to feel grateful for the stars that forged your atoms, for the earth that supports your life, for the moments that shaped your story, for the consciousness that lets you wonder, for the quiet of this moment. A moment that would not exist in any other universe but this one. What a rare place this is. What a rare life you're living. What a rare universe to call home. You do not need infinite realities to feel complete. You only need this one. After wandering through the vast architecture of the multiverse, after drifting among infinities, contemplations, theories, and gentle paradoxes, you may notice something quietly lingering, a question that has followed us like a soft shadow, never loud, never urgent, but persistent in its own peaceful way. How many multiverses are there? It is the question that began our journey, and it returns here near the end, not demanding an answer, but reminding us of the wonder that sparked this exploration. The closer you examine the question, the more it dissolves into something even deeper. Because how many presumes that the multiverse is a thing we can count, like stars in the night sky or grains of sand on a beach. But the multiverse, if it exists at all, may not be a collection. It may be a concept, a framework, a way of understanding the limitless creativity of existence. Perhaps there is one multiverse. Perhaps there are many. Perhaps the number is infinite. Or perhaps how many is a question that cannot be answered, because the multiverse itself is not limited by number or measure. Imagine asking how many waves exist in the ocean. The question makes sense at first. You can see many waves, count them for a moment, trace their crests across the surface. But the ocean does not create waves one by one. It simply moves, flows, undulates. The waves arise naturally from its motion. Likewise, the multiverse, if real, may not be a set of discrete objects to tally. It may be the natural expression of deeper physical truths, quantum branching, inflationary dynamics, string-theoretic geometry, mathematical possibility, or even simulated creativity. The count of universes may be less important than the realization that existence is vast enough to hold far more than one. And perhaps that is the deeper answer. How many universes are there is less a calculation and more an invitation to imagine. Instead of giving us certainty, the question opens space. Space for wonder, space for humility, space for contemplation. It is a doorway, not a destination. Physicists can offer approximations. 10^-100 possibilities in the string landscape, uncountably many in quantum branching, infinitely many in eternal inflation. But even these numbers do not settle the question. They simply map the edges of our imagination, because the true essence of the multiverse is not quantity. It is possibility. Possibility that the universe you inhabit is one blossom in an endless garden. Possibility that existence is richer than our senses reveal. Possibility that reality is not confined to one stage, but unfolds across countless theatres with different scripts, different actors, different lights. Yet here you are, in the one universe you can touch, breathing in the quiet, feeling your body soften, letting the edges of thought dissolve into stillness. And the question that remains, how many multiverses are there, becomes less about counting and more about embracing the mystery. Some questions are not bridges to answers. They are lanterns illuminating the path of wonder. So let the question stay with you, not as a puzzle to solve, but as a soft reminder that the cosmos is deeper than certainty, bigger than knowledge, more generous than comprehension. The question remains, and that is part of its beauty. We have travelled far tonight, farther than any spacecraft, farther than any telescope, farther than the imagination of earlier ages ever dared to wander. Together, we've drifted through cosmic bubbles blooming from inflation, quantum branches unfolding in quiet parallel, brains brushing like silk in higher dimensions, universes budding from the hearts of black holes, infinite mathematical structures awakening into reality. We have seen possibility expand beyond boundaries, beyond language, beyond the edges of our known sky. And now, gently, we return to a single truth. You are here, in this universe, in this moment, breathing. Let the vastness soften around you like a slowly dimming halo. Let the countless possibilities we explored settle into the background like distant stars fading into a peaceful night. You don't need to hold the multiverse in your mind. You don't need to solve the mysteries we visited. You only need to rest in the quiet truth that you are part of a cosmos that is vast enough to inspire wonder, yet gentle enough to cradle your life in its arms. Feel yourself drifting back from the infinite architectures of reality, back from the bubbles and branches, back from the abstract landscapes of mathematics, back from the swirling maybes and might-bes, back into the warmth of your own universe, a universe where light has a speed, gravity has a softness, time has a direction, and your breath has a rhythm. As you settle here, notice how the enormity of everything we explored gives your present moment a new kind of stillness. You're no longer searching outward. You're resting inward. Like a ship returning to harbour after exploring a vast sea, your awareness drifts gently into the quiet waters of your own existence. Let your mind soften. Let your breath deepen. Let your body become heavy and warm and supported. You have wandered through ideas larger than galaxies, and now you deserve the simple peace of being. Know this. Among all possible universes, all potential worlds, all imaginable timelines, you are living in the one that holds your memories, your joys, your sorrows, your hopes, your dreams. This universe, with all its cosmic coincidences, allowed your life to unfold exactly as it has. And with that awareness comes something gentle, grounding, and profoundly human. You're enough. Your story is enough. Your universe is enough. You're not lost in the multiverse. You're anchored in the only reality where your consciousness blooms, and that makes this universe precious beyond measure. So let the last traces of thought drift away like soft smoke. Let your awareness dissolve into the quiet rhythm of your breath. Let the night hold you the way gravity holds the stars, gently, patiently, without effort, You have travelled through wonder. Now return to rest. Everything you are, everything you have seen, everything you have imagined tonight flows gently into stillness. And as you drift towards sleep, let the closing truth of AstraFlow carry you. Everything flows. Sleep in that motion.